You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello and welcome back to the Disconnected. It's Thursday night, meaning it's time to get reconnected with the original Ryan here with us tonight. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, it's going good. How you doing, Chad? Great to see you.
Appreciate the shout out. It's good to see you. Always a good time.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you so much for having me back.
Love the background as usual.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, shelves are almost done. We've been working on this a little bit for a little while. I need to get tags. Next thing is up, so I'm going to have shelf tags. So I have it all by sections. So,
I had been talking about, gosh, this was way back in 2018, I think. I was talking with Andrew Furtado from Severin back then, and we were talking about designing our own and trying to sell them in Facebook groups. And things have changed for both of us since 2018.
Just a little bit.
It is amazing to see you. For those that don't know,
likewise,
Mr. Gowland lives in Los Angeles. How's the anxiety been the last couple of weeks?
Pretty high. Like I just unloaded a bag, my own personal bag that I had packed the other day, and just then that's when the Hughes fire started in Santa Clarita, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. As soon as I take this stuff out of my personal bag. But anyway, it's so far we're still in a safe place, and hopefully rain is coming this weekend. But it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge. We're all just sort of like taking deep breaths and just trying to get through it. But we're, to be fair, we haven't lost anything. So many people have suffered so much more than us, and so we feel very lucky.
For those that aren't paying super close attention, there were the two biggest ones for a little over a week. You had the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. The Eaton fire it's over 90% contained now, I believe, and pretty much not advancing much, and hopefully should be inactive here in the next day and a half, hopefully. Palisades fire has dramatically decreased its threatening aura, but man, just yesterday, the Hughes fire, in a matter of like 3 hours, literally went from 5 acres to like 45 acres to 1,300 acres, and now it's like 3 times that size. That thing literally exploded, and not trying to use a fire pun, genuinely like in an exponential growth type of fashion.
Yeah, it's up by the Angelitos Mountains, and it's pretty far away from us, and it wasn't near structures or homes.
Right.
But like it's on these hills where there's just brush everywhere, and it just lit up like a tinderbox, and just those kinds of things. You're like, man, I'd really love to just feel like we got a second to breathe, So, but that's why I wanted to be here, because I wanted to just have a break,
Those hills up there, I think that's where probably within a couple miles of where I filmed the first music video I helped out with. So, lots of memories, and then their hills, as the prospector would say. Silent Mandible saying that it looks like I got Fred Armisen on.
I never got that.
Not sure if you've heard that before.
That's a new one on me, and I don't even have glasses, so that's interesting. But
to make a promise I can't keep, but you have no idea how close this is to being a reality. That might be happening in the next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Teasing something there. We'll see what's got going forward with that. Let's talk about some pickups, because you get a lot of pickups just like myself. What have you been getting in?
I do, but I was checking the mail today. I was like, I got some stuff coming in. I was like, ooh, what if it shows up today? It'll be just in time. But no. It did not. I checked the front porch all day. Anyway, I got this because somebody told me in your Discord that I should get it. And that is Narc, and because it was on sale on Amazon. And at that time, I just decided to pick up the 4K of Death Dream as well from Blue Underground. because I've been wanting to get it forever and it just never got it. And it was like such a good price. I was like,
Yeah.
all right. So had to do that.
Funny enough, I almost pulled that for our discussion tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I still haven't seen it, and I've been holding off to talk about blind buys. So, but I just know I'm going to love this. So, this is not a blind buy. I got a couple things from Kino, and this didn't show up initially in my order, but I told them about the issue. They sent me the wrong movie. They sent me Mr. Monk's Last Case, which is not what I ordered.
They both start with M. I get it.
Yeah, but they corrected it and sent me this, so it's all good. Then I also got a bunch of stuff, but I'll just say I got the Some Like It Hot 4K. I couldn't resist it for $10. Not the biggest fan of the movie, but I was like, oh, look at the 4K. It's a classic. It's $10.
Maybe it's a better movie in 4K.
Yeah, maybe time. I haven't seen it in a long time, so maybe that, people change, Ryan. You should know that. You're now Ryan.
I know. The improv is going to be fun tonight.
Speaking of Amazon, so the 3 for $33, I've got a few things. Deal. Got Wild Robot.
Good choice. Now Oscar-nominated Wild Robot.
I know. Weird. Upgraded Nightmare on Elm Street.
Damn good price for that.
And because I was probably the only person on earth buying it, Bike Riders.
Correct. I did not buy that one either.
It's not bad. And, we watch biker movies. I've watched a bunch of them. And we have to watch some of them for our podcast. And biker movies are not good. I'll just say I don't enjoy them. And this one was probably the best biker movie I've ever seen. That isn't saying a ton. Now, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen Easy Rider.
I was about to say.
But like I've been watching a lot of AIP biker movies and New World biker movies, and those are okay, and they're always pretty much the same. Oh, good, I'm not alone. That's good to know. Somebody else bought Bike Riders as well, and I think the performances are great, with the exception perhaps of Tom Hardy, who is not doing a Chicago accent. He's very much doing a New York accent, but Jodie Comer's just her performance is out of this world. It's so good, and her and Austin Butler I thought had great chemistry. I don't know, I was like, you know what, I kind of like it, and I could pop that on and be like, there's decent biker movies out there anyway. Then the Arrow, the 73 for $70 one. I got my one. I picked Deep Blue Sea and I got removed off the order. Of course. But I did get Demolition Man.
Nice.
And I got the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment.
Damn good deal.
Which, of course, I busted open and taken a look at. I thought I was going to be able to completely get rid of my Arrow Blu-rays of the first two, but you can't because Leviathan. So, oh well, still jam-packed with a lot of stuff. And
we got this comment for you that says the show would be a lot better if the killer from In a Violent Nature were the guest.
Thank you. That is so true. Just quiet. We could just listen to diegetic sound. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
All we could see is the back of the head all night from 48 degrees up.
I like that movie. I'm sorry. I really like that movie. I know why you hate it. I get it. But I really like it. It worked for me. I'm sorry. I got some stuff from finally from Gold Ninja. I got Monster Man.
Nice.
And also got the Open Doom Crescendo, which I got the ultimate one that also comes with this book as well. It's just I believe the script. The script to it. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, and there's drawings of their storyboards, and so I love supporting them. I know that it's kind of a one-man show, so I was excited to do that. And then lastly, thank you, Jeremy. I love you too, pal. Barrel, nice. And then I finally got the first thing from my oscilloscope subscription, and I asked. They said you can go back a little bit, and I said I Want Sometimes I Think About Dying, which is a movie I watched and really, really liked, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And I really want to hear the commentary, so I'm going to do that this week. And I'm excited. Oscilloscope, if you have not joined, if you haven't subscribed, highly recommend. So far, so great. They have been so nice, emailing me, talking to me, seeing what I want. It's like
personally emailing.
Personally emailing. That is so wild. That is so crazy. I also subscribe to TerraVision, and I'm super excited about that. Have not received any email or any updates, but that's fine. No big deal. It's totally fine. Totally fine. But on the other side was Oscilloscope that like immediately emailed me. It was like, let's get you going. How's everything going? What can I need? Do you have any questions? Yeah. That is so cool. For that price point too, unbelievable. I'm like bummed I haven't done this earlier. But so I'm excited for potentially one of their movies that we might talk about tonight. That I might be, I might order it. That's if we're talking about it. I think we will be.
We are, yeah. There's a good list coming up later this year from them. I'm pretty excited. They've got a pretty exciting 2025. All right, I've got kind of more than usual to talk about, but got a lot of stuff in this week. First, the brand new. This is the January release from Deaf Crocodile. The Cathedral of New Emotions came in. Gorgeous art on this as usual. And if you've not seen the standard art, this is where the stuff gets good and weird. Definitely recommend picking this up if you've not seen it, which most people haven't. So definitely check it out. The announcement's coming not tomorrow, but next Friday. Going to be a really great month for everybody. You've got really exciting subscription title coming to all of you that have subscribed to them. I do my best to support indie pretty much everything. So I got a couple of indie pickups this week. First is an indie horror movie that came out called He Never Left. This is a Kickstarter from a little over a year ago, I think. Pretty original slasher film. It says, after hearing disturbing noises from the next motel room, a fugitive on the run and his girlfriend become prey to the notoriously brutal Paleface killer whose legend has haunted the local community for decades. That's exciting. Definitely recommend checking it out. Rue Morgue says, a remarkable, challenging lead performance.
Can you only get it through like the Kickstarter?
No, it will be available lots of places here soon, I believe. But yeah, this was the first place through the Kickstarter. Love the art on that, and it is autographed through the Kickstarter.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. I hope it's not in a violent nature, and you'll hate it. So we'll see. Hopefully you like it.
Killer for decades, I guess it could be technically. This one, if you are around some of the other Discords of other people and friends that have been on the channel for quite some time, Matt, who you might recognize his name from Kino Ventura, is his online persona, just did a zine recently called Apache Revolver. Nice lengthy articles and pictures about like crime cinema. Lots of good stuff in here. Shockingly cheap. You can get this, I believe, at Kino Ventura at Blogspot. We're talking like 30 pages of high quality stuff, and this shipped was like $5, $6, something like that. Incredible.
I love zines. I love that zines are coming back. That's the best. I think I love it.
A pricier one. I finally got in my copy of the newest Physical Media Advocate.
What?
There it is with the Oscar-nominated The Substance on the front cover. You can get this in stores across the U.S. and Canada. This, I hate to continue saying this, but maybe my favorite issue yet. Like, we keep growing. This one is over 50, 52, 53 pages. Incredible articles. People from all over the world writing in. We've got regular stuff that is happening every single month. I can't really argue with it. It's amazing.
I'll get my article in. I'm still working on it. But I can't wait to get that. I haven't gotten the new one because I'm waiting to go take a sojourn over to CD Trader and pick it up in the flesh. That's how I want to do it.
It'll be a while for that one. Dave has been stressed out with the fires. He has not ordered the new one yet. Videotech in LA has them, though.
Okay. All right.
That's a longer jaunt for you, though, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is, but good to know.
Last two that I've not seen many people talk about that I've been wanting for a long time, waited for them to go on sale. This first one, actually, I was able to get with a gift card, so I didn't really have to pay for it. Village of Doom from Unearthed. This is based off of a true story. This is a Japanese film. It's a classic Japanese true crime story it's a chilling reenactment of the infamous Tsuyama massacre, a revenge killing spree that occurred on the night of May 21st, 1938 in the rural village of Kamo near Tsuyama in Okayama Prefecture. There's an emotionally distraught 21-year-old man who had been ostracized by his fellow villagers, went on a violent killing spree that took the lives of 30 people, including his own grandmother, in the middle of the night.
Not Granny.
Not Granny.
Come on.
Unearthed does some great stuff.
What happened to poor grandma? That's awesome. That one looks amazing.
Yeah, the fact that it's based on a true crime story is wild.
Yeah.
Last one. One of the biggest things in my life when I was younger, and I've talked about this countless times before, was music. And the first band that really showed me expansive ideas behind music was Queen. And when this got announced, I had to get the 4K of Queen, Rock Montreal, and Live Aid. I will say this is not great packaging. It's like a flimsy little foldable pack that, it's shrink wrapped and I can kind of fold it. But this is probably never going to come out in any other way. So I'm stoked to be able to have this, one of the best bands of all time, one of the strongest set of musicians ever. Yeah, can't wait to see it in 4K.
That's awesome, dude. I thought you were a big punk guy though too. Were you not?
I was, but okay. This is where a lot of that started. Like a lot of people that have never dove into Queen other than like the hits. Queen had like some almost like straight up thrash metal on some of their early stuff. So their diversity is kind of what led to me liking literally everything.
I have like a box set of their records that came out years ago that I got for free from my work at the time.
Nice.
And it has all the records. So, and I barely dove into it. So much stuff. But yeah, Unearthed Films. I got to get that Village of Doom. That looks really good. I've never heard of that.
It's a lot.
Granny. So worried about Granny.
We're going to talk about recent watches tonight, but first, after our announcements tonight, we're going to be discussing blind buy. So I wanted everybody to hear that so we could stay after the show. Blind buy has been something that's come up lately. Obviously, a lot of people are pulling back on how much they're buying with the economy sucking and with the outlook of a lot of things in the shitter. And I told
Ryan.
The fires in LA, right?
Okay. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's the only.
What else has transpired this month?
It's been a terrifying week as somebody that works for the federal government. I am definitely not happy at the moment, but doing whatever I can to hide that. So thank you.
Yeah, get out those ties. Get out those shirts.
No, I'm getting out that reasonable accommodation paperwork.
Man, yeah, start it now, dude. Yeah, do your best, man.
I'm gonna do my best, but blind buys, kind of a contentious subject for some people. A lot of people will say, I'm not buying something unless I've seen it first, and to me, that's sort of baffling. But also, I've not seen a lot of stuff, so a lot of what I buy is a blind buy. But we'll get into the nuances behind that tonight and why we're going to talk about it. But recent watches, obviously today was the Oscar nomination show for a lot of people. And we got to discuss what's been going on. I know you keep up with a lot of recent stuff, but also you watch a lot of classic stuff too. So what have you been watching?
I've actually been watching a lot of the newer stuff because I'm about to go on a podcast and talk about favorite films of 2024. So I have been watching a lot of newer stuff. It's been kind of a mixed bag, but I was there this morning. So good job to you guys. It was enjoyable to listen to everything. So
until the last 6 minutes when I had to run at
you had to race out. Well, you got to get on that Zoom call. I get it. Reasonable accommodation. But a recent watch I actually did get to. Of course, I had a bit of a break in there recently where I couldn't watch anything because we didn't have power. We didn't have internet for a bit, but that's no problem because I was watching Blu-rays. But then the power went out, so I couldn't watch anything. So that's tough. But I did watch.
Just reading booklets for a week.
yeah, by candlelight. That was real fun. I had to tell the kids like by 5 o'clock, I'm like, if you want to shower, now's the time, because it's about to be dark unless you want to like take a shower by candlelight. Like this is the time. But yeah, I watched Hands of Steel, which is actually something that I picked up. Well, I don't have the Blu-ray organized, but anyway, Hands of Steel. It is a Sergio Martino movie, and from 1986, and that's something I watched recently. I had just gotten the Blu-ray, I think, from a sale of some. I'm trying to remember who I got it from. It doesn't matter. I got it on sale, and it was awesome. I had never seen it before, so I was extremely excited for it. It's kind of a Terminator ripoff if you haven't seen it, but it's not a Terminator ripoff. It's also a ripoff, I guess, of Over the Top, because a good portion of the middle of the film deals with a contest of like arm wrestling, which I wasn't anticipating that much arm wrestling, but there we go. And then it's got a great score. Claudio Simonetti from Goblin does the score. Really, really good. And it's super fun. Sweaty as hell. But it was a blast. Really good time. Nice. I finally watched or rewatched, finally, after all these years, rewatched The Heroic Trio.
Oh.
Which was very fun. I think I wrote on my letterbox, it was an empowering story of how three women bonded together through child kidnapping and infanticide. It's a wild movie, but I remember it was one of the Hong Kong films that I bought on a ripped VHS at San Diego Comic-Con way back in the day, when I was buying Hard Boiled and The Killer and any of those Hong Kong movies I could get, because you couldn't get them anywhere, So
how times have changed.
Yeah, and now it's on Criterion. So so it was very nice to watch a very cleaned up, not a VHS rip of a rip of a rip of The Heroic Trio. It was very good. I went on a bit of a fest for a now is he Academy nominated? I can't remember if he is. Jesse Eisenberg, but I watched both of his movies.
Oh, nice.
Which is to say, I watched A Real Pain, and I also watched twice When You Finish Saving the World. I watched it twice because I'd watched it once, and then very soon afterwards, our oldest said she has a list of movies she wants to watch. And she was like, I want to watch this movie When You Finish Saving the World, because it has Finn Wolfhard in it, and she's a big Stranger Things, and she's like, got to see. And I was like, I just watched it, but okay, let's watch. I mean, you got a list. You're a 14-year-old kid, and you have a list of movies you want to watch. We're going to watch whatever
I'll promote it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hell yes, whatever you want. And so I watched both of his movies. So I'm very up to date on his filmography as a director. I actually kind of really I like both of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Did you see A Real Pain?
I did see A Real Pain. I was a real happy person watching it. I was.
Yeah, that's right. I heard you talking about it because you love that line that he says in it about his pain and not being extraordinary, which is an amazing line. Yeah, that's an amazing scene. It's really good. And When You Finish Saving the World, I think it's a nice to show the step up from that, but it's got an incredible performance by Julianne Moore, and she's really, really good in the movie. Oh yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. Yeah, just seeing a movie is a blind buy, I guess, in a sense. Yeah. That's true. Haunted sideshow. And that's a good call. But when you're paying a ticket, and I guess when you're paying a ticket, but when you've bought like Tombs of the Blind Dead for $70.
But there's a coffin box.
Right. And you're like, I gotta have this. It's $70. I haven't seen it. That's I guess what we're kind of talking about. But okay, real quick. I also then the next night our daughter was out, so our son wanted to watch something. So we watched The Invisible Raptor. Have you seen that? Or heard of it?
I have not seen it. I feel. Oh wait, we just announced this physically like a few weeks ago.
I think you did.
Yeah, it sounded like genuinely really interesting.
It is a horror comedy that is too long.
Yeah,
too long. Nearly 2 hours. Doesn't need to be. That needs to be 80 minutes, dude. That needs to be like
how invisible is the raptor exactly?
Total. It for the most part invisible. There's like one time you can see it when they have it on like heat vision or something. Like so, it's really just
That
there
is
because
not the
they're like,
response I expected.
yeah, it's not there, and it's there I think only because they're like it'll be funny because we'll have a raptor, but you won't be able to see it. It's got some more gore, but it's all digital, and it's got a few laughs in it, but it's just way too long.
Right.
It wears out its welcome because it's too long. I rewatched also King Cohen, the documentary about Larry Cohen. We just on the podcast talked about
God Told Me To.
God Told Me To. That's right. So that's I got to edit that this weekend. So
sorry, I don't know why I'm running your podcast.
I love that you know that. That's amazing. I mean, it was our Fanuary, so we asked people
Definitely
to vote
voted
on what we should watch. Yes, you did, and thank you for doing that. If you're interested in having us talk about an educational comedy video about taxes, the Tax Act of 1986, you can listen to our most recent episode, Tax Attack 87.
Funny enough, was about to ask about that after the recent watches, but okay, yeah, we'll jump into that now.
I just chatted on Facebook today with the director of that video. Pretty funny. Just funny how that happens. I'm going to try and track down the producer and see if I can get like some kind of interview for the website. But he didn't remember much about it. He had to kind of look it up because he was just a director who worked with Robert Klein a lot. So he was just sort of brought in. So he doesn't really remember it, but too well. So he couldn't answer any questions, but that's fine. He was a very nice guy, and it was very, very nice for him. And also in the theater, I saw One of Them Days with our 14-year-old. It just came out. It is a comedy with Keke Palmer and SZA.
That one looked really good. Yeah,
it was pretty good. They have good chemistry. I thought it was a funny movie. My daughter really liked it. We had a good time. It's it was Monday. It was a holiday. It's Martin Luther King Day. We were one of 6 people probably in the theater. But she had been trying to ask friends to go, and they kept bailing out on her. So she finally went to somebody that she knows was not going to say no to a movie, and that was me.
It's a good reputation to have.
She was like, will you go to this movie with me? I was like, 100% I will go to this movie with you. I'll go to any movie you want to go to. But we had a good time, and it was a funny movie, and they do a good job. I'd see the two of them, if they're going to do other movies together, I think that would be great. So I really enjoyed it. Also had a guy from The Blackening. Did you ever see that movie?
I have not finished it yet. I started it. It's very good.
Yeah, I have it up here. It's the main guy who wrote it and is in it is also in it as a cameo. It's got a lot of funny people in it. One of Them Days, but Blackening, I always keep bringing it up because I think it's a really funny, one of the better horror comedies of recent years.
Right.
So, but that's it for me. That's rather I could go down a whole bunch of things I've been watching, but we'll just keep.
No, it's nice because my list is very short this week. If I wasn't working on a title, so there's I think 2 that I've seen this week that I can't talk about. I saw one in theater and one at home, and the rest of the time was spent in depression, basically. The one in theater took my kids to see the 40th anniversary of The Goonies in the theater. And it's the first time I've seen it on the big screen. Both of my kids fell in love with it. We told them what it was going to be going into it. What's funny is they had seen it, but they were way too young to see it. So they didn't remember anything about it. And we took them in and told them what it was going to be. And they were both like, we'll see. It's kind of a boring, whatever. Literally not 5 minutes in, my oldest looked at me and said, this movie's going to be amazing because of what he was already seeing. It was so great. He loved the prison break scene. He was so stoked on it. And then I think early on somebody says shit. He's like, I'm in. I can hear cuss words.
That's, whatever the buy-in's going to be. I saw it years ago at like Hollywood Forever Cemetery when they sort of do that series over the summer where they like show movies up on the wall and have people camp out and hang out. And maybe smoke pot and watch movies, but I don't know. Some of those things are voluntary, including watching the movie, to be quite frank. But we watched it, and this is the first time I've seen it in a long time. I was obsessed with that movie when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I loved Goonies. I would just imagine all my friends, and we all had our little gang, and I was obsessed with Kehu Kwan and like all his gadgets.
Yep.
I thought that was the coolest thing on earth.
Same.
So it's a movie that when watching it again as an adult, I'm like, this movie shouldn't work. It doesn't have a plot, really, but it works. It just works. I don't know what it is. It has an energy that just works.
I enjoy it so much, especially more on a big screen. It's like genuinely magical on a big screen. It feels just literally like, this is such a cliche word to use, but it feels like such an adventure. It is so just, I'm along for the ride. Love every moment. And then of course, that we watched that, we have a great time, and the kids have both already seen this a few Christmases ago, but I went, hey, you loved this. Let's talk about Gremlins. And so we put Gremlins in.
Okay.
And I felt like the nerdiest movie lover to my 9-year-old. We sat down. I'm like, okay, so listen, the same guy that wrote the movie you just loved wrote this one. Look, here's an actor from the first one. You recognize him? Now he's in a weird band and they're terrible. Also, you see this guy? His name is Dick, and he's one of the most famous actors of all time, and nobody knows his name, and he's amazing. And then I'm like, one day I'm going to teach you about Roger Corman, and you would be very proud of the conversation that followed. But it was so much fun just to watch him be like, I don't care about anything that you're saying right now.
Yeah. Don't really. Just let me watch a dumb movie. What are your kids? Do you guys celebrate Christmas?
In the most non-religious, but let's have a good time and take a breath to be present with each other type of very cliche lights, Christmas tree presents, big dinner.
We only celebrate it in the very religious way. No.
When I was young, my parents forced us to have a happy birthday Jesus cake, so I get it.
Okay. All right. No, I've never done that.
And I'm not kidding, by the way, for all commenters that are already typing, not kidding.
I've not shown that to our kids because I think maybe this is the year we can do it, but there's a monologue there that could ruin Christmas if you have any sort of belief in there. So that's why I've avoided it. But I love Gremlins. I love the sequel, maybe even more.
Watching that this week.
I adore it. It's totally nuts. It is totally nuts. Quickly, yes, Dwayne Perkins, by the way, is thank you for the comments. He's the one who wrote The Blackening and is in that movie. And what's this other one here? Hundreds of Beavers. I got to totally agree with Jim there. Half an hour too long. Really fun and enjoyable and inventive. There's no reason for that movie to be an hour and 45 minutes. It's too long.
I agree, but at least the length is fun and not, I want to put a log in my eye.
It's nonstop gags, and I do love that. Yeah. I mean, as a guy who, did the make-em-ups for a living, I completely appreciate the amount of gags in that movie, but it's a little much. And my wife, Erica, who's our co-host on the show, was kind of coming in and out.
You married her? I'm just kidding.
I married just for the podcast. It's only for the podcast.
It's a showmance for a podcast.
just to make that. We want buy-in from people. I would not normally listen to this podcast because it concentrates on New World Pictures, but there's a married couple and I feel like, okay. She kept coming in while I was watching Hundreds of Beavers and she kept being like, are you still watching this? What? Does this movie ever end? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a little long.
To be fair, it's literally like a Looney Tune short.
Yeah.
But 7 of them. And I can see how after 5 you're like, this is so funny. I want to go do something else. Yeah, totally get that feeling.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I bought it. It was a blind buy.
But did you spring for the wood slipcover?
I did not.
Good choice.
Yeah. I went for the partner label, the Vinegar Syndrome partner label. So those are one of those things though that like if I see it on a good deal, Do I upgrade? I don't know. I'm so stupid. I know. I probably will.
I love that a wood slipcover is an upgrade in our eyes.
Yeah, it's not dumb, but I would be like,
It is.
I would be like, I don't need that. I have one. I have the slipcover. I'm good. I see a good deal. That wooden slipcover. I'm intrigued.
It's not bad. Was it actually chewed by a beaver? Because in that case,
I don't know. Could be. Sorry. Did you see anything else?
No, other than like episodes of Veep to try to bring a true smile to my face. And then a streaming service I believe you're familiar with. I watch a lot of Dropout. And spent some time with Sam Reich this week for sure to try to cheer me up. Yeah. Genuinely been a really rough week. Yeah. Check in on your friends. I don't mean to make light of this, but I mean, there's a lot of people unsure of what their future is like. And the sad thing is we have already seen so many changes. I could be talking about 17 different groups of people and you don't know who I'm talking about. And that means check on everybody. It's a scary time right now.
Well, just remember too that everything that is being done can be undone so far. And we have the courts kind of. So, I mean, but yes, I think Veep is an incredible show. I absolutely adore that show. A friend of mine, Sam, was on that show. And it's
Sam Richardson.
Yeah, he's a very funny dude, and he's very funny in that show. It might be almost like I'm like, the Detroiters is so good. Yeah,
so underseen funny. Too.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now. People should check it out.
Nice. I didn't know.
I think it's on Netflix or Prime. It's on one of those. But this might be a tough time to watch Veep because I watched it through the original run when it was kind of like, ha ha ha, how ridiculous. and now I'm very intrigued to like rewatch it, but I think it might be like, oh wow, this is real. This feels really too real. But yeah, the great
Some
show.
of the gags I've wished for it to be like the worst of what we're seeing.
Have you seen In the Loop too? Did you see that?
In the Loop. Don't recognize the title.
Yeah, it's the same creator, and it's essentially how the show was started out sort of as a British show. And he made a movie version. James Gandolfini's in it. Extremely good movie, very funny, very cutting. And then they sort of did the American version of the original show, sort of, but that became and morphed into Veep.
Nice.
But Armando Iannucci is the creator. He
Sweet.
was also a writer on the Alan Partridge Show and a bunch of great British stuff. And anything he does, I pretty much will check out. Yes, The Thick of It. Thank you, Paul. Yes, The Thick of It is the spinoff show. Yeah, which is great. Really, really funny.
I trust your recommendations more than most, so it is on the list.
Well, thank you. I will disappoint you, I'm sure, at some point.
Don't worry, everybody does.
Have you ever seen In a Violent Nature? It's really good. You should check it out.
Oh man! Well, on that note, how do you feel about the Oscar nominations? Are you happy with them?
I don't care. I mean,
okay. So on that note,
no. I mean, like it's fine. Like I have not seen some. As usual, there's a couple of the movies that I have not seen, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll watch some of these. I guess I should have seen it coming because of the Golden Globes. But I was looking for the movie today. What is the one? I'm forgetting the name all of a sudden. The one that won all the Golden Globes with Zoe Saldana.
Amelia Perez.
Yeah, Amelia Perez. Which, by the way, I looked at on Netflix, and I was just going through all the different tiers and just waiting for it to show up. I'm like, it just got nominated for an Oscar. Let's just see it. Right. Where it'll be right there. I had to search for it. Like your algorithm is so dumb, dude. That's awful.
So
that's awful. I was even looking for your movie and I couldn't find it. But anyway, I haven't seen a ton of them, but I always feel like they're not wholly representative of what we see. And
right.
So I think you kind of take some of the wins. There's a couple of good nominations in there that I think are good. But I just don't look to those shows to give me validation. Though I am going to vote. I vote in the SAG Awards, so I'll be interested in what that comes about because I'll I'll put my energy into that.
It's never obviously all telling about what the state of film is, but also the way I look at it, and I know a lot of people pull the whole I don't care about awards, so I'm not going to watch or anything, but also I care about movies, and these have a genuine impact on
That's a
film.
fair point.
So
yeah, and I used to like make it absolute viewing, you know.
Yeah.
But I think I'm coming. And then every year there would be a bunch of movies I hadn't seen, so it was hard to like get into it because parenting kind of makes seeing everything a big challenge, as I'm sure you are aware. And so I'm now making more of an effort to try and see everything. And so, but I had not seen Amelia Perez. I haven't seen The Brutalist. And then I was going to see it. And then I heard all the AI stuff and I was like, should I prioritize that one? So I haven't seen it yet. Not only that, it's 4 hours long. So, you know, that takes scheduling.
The 3.5 hours has been the biggest thing for me. And to be fair on the AI, not to go too deep into this because we probably should start announcements 43 minutes into this.
The People AI, love this banter.
The editor of the film fed his own voice and the actors' voices into Respeecher. So it is AI, but it's with the creator's consent using only their voices. Yeah. That feels a little more authentic to me. And then the other part is they fed in pictures of architecture to be able to create more pictures of similar architecture that do not exist, essentially. That part's a little more sketchy to me than the voice aspect, but I don't know. It's a big discussion that's going to need to be had. I mean, a lot of people have zero tolerance for it, and a lot of people look at it as a tool. Both sides have valid arguments. It's a tough one. I understand not wanting it in any side of creativity because that's kind of the side that I fall on. I don't want people, especially without their consent, having their artistic endeavors fed into an algorithm that they don't get a say in at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. I totally agree with that. And I'm a little wary of that because I just think, you know, it's every change like that throughout any industry is going to start small before it becomes big. So that's what makes me fairly nervous about that. But at the same time, the only thing about the Oscars this year to me too, especially with all the Amelia Perez stuff, is that if the Oscars are a way of continuing to push people to go see movies, I love that. And I love that about any award show. And that's exciting because I want people to go to the movies. I love going to the movies. I really don't want to see that die in my lifetime.
Agreed.
If I'm dead, it doesn't matter to me. I can die all at once. No, but I don't want it to die at all. But and I'm an idiot that goes to see plays and stuff. I love to go see stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I like to see stuff live and in the flesh, and I like to go see movies. And so, like Amelia Perez, I'm sure they did some sort of perfunctory screenings of it, but it's like that's a Netflix movie. Are we getting people to go to the movie theater? The Brutalist had such a specific run. Are people going to the movie theater to see that now? Will they open that up? I know that they opened Anora back up in the theater, so I'm hoping
Sing Sing, all kinds of them.
Sing. Yeah, I haven't seen Sing Sing yet, and I would love to see that. So like if those open back up and I can go see these in the movie theater, then this is great. That's what I want. And people go out to the movies to see this stuff, then I'm all on board. But otherwise, it always feels like my favorites of the year and the Oscars are sort of like two divergent paths.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to get excited for that reason. But if it gets people excited to go to the movies and gets people excited about movies, I'm all in favor of it and any award show.
I agree. Awards are a great way to entice people to modern films. Before we get started on announcements, one thing that gets me excited about older films is wonderful podcast. Tell people about the New World Pictures podcast and what they can find. Oh my gosh.
Well, as the name implies, we talk about New World Pictures movies. That's what we talk about exclusively. New World Video, New World Television, the Learning Corporation of America is a new company we found out that they bought last year, and we started watching some of their movies. That's how we talk about Tax Attack 87. We're on our 6th year, if you can believe it. And we also talk to the people behind the scenes. We've got great interviews that are going to come up. We started doing We started doing some commentaries. We released our first commentary just the end of last year. We're going to do some more commentaries this year. We have a lot of good stuff already planned and in the works, and we're excited for that. And we're also going to start doing a series on Roger Corman's graduates of the Roger Corman Film School. And we're going to be discussing, first off, we're going to be talking about, I'll reveal it here. We're going to talk about Jack Hill. Nice. And we're going to be going through his filmography from beginning to end and talking about his, as well as his New World movies, as well as all his other films as well. So it's a great way to, talk about all the Jack Hill movies that we know and love. And we're just going to go through different people that went through the so-called Roger Corman Film School. So, yeah, so it's going to be an exciting year. We're excited.
What about the Worldies? Tell people about those.
Yes, we just had the Worldies. The Worldies is speaking of award shows. That's how we end every year. We do a completely made up award show based on purely the movies we've watched in the past year. And we have guests come in and go through and announce the awards and be presenters, quote unquote, and give away awards. And then, so with something we do every year, it is a lot of fun. And it's just kind of a way for us to kind of like celebrate the year. And it's a ton of work for me, but it's a lot of fun and we have a great time doing it. So it keeps getting more and more fun every year. And go ahead. We had new categories this year because we have a small Discord of like former guests such as yourself and some of our NWPP VIPs. And, we had this
such a wild acronym.
It's so much, but we've been saying it for years. We said it in jest and then we kept saying it. We thought that's the dumbest thing to call people that like this show, but that's what we do. So we had them vote this year. So they voted as well as us. So it was kind of a lot of fun for everybody to get involved. And you voted as well.
I did. If you had to call out a favorite episode in the last, I don't know, we'll say 2.5 months with the word mountain in the title, what would you say that would be?
I wish there was another title of mountain in it. I'd totally say that.
I had to go check before I asked.
Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Are you kidding? We had the great Ryan Verrill in there to talk about a movie, and you should really check it out. We had a blast talking about that movie, I thought. So it's a fun podcast. We have a good time. We have a lot of fun.
You'll never believe it. 2 of the hosts are married. It's crazy.
And unbelievable. And the other host is my brother. So it's insane.
No way. He looks just affair. Like I never would have guessed.
People do say we look, to this day, my brother's a few years older than me. To this day, people will see us and go, "Are you twins?" And my brother will always go, "No." He will angrily say, "No." He said that since we were kids. People would ask if we were twins. And like our height differences were so different. They're like, "Are you guys twins?" Like, why would we be different heights? Makes no sense. But anyway, he gets very upset when he gets asked that.
Of course. All right, let's get into announcements. And then, like I said, after this, we're going to be covering 10 films that we blind bought that we loved. We're going to talk about the blind buy experience, why we love it, and what those films are. So here we go. Starting off the week with another big acquisition announcement. Last week's was, of course, the Shout Factory giant acquisition, and now Arrow partnering with Shudder. I, first of all, love all the comments last week of everybody saying Shudder is a prostitute for whoever will pay them. I heard Shudder is, I think somebody said Shudder is a Blu-ray slut. They use that as a
I've called myself that as well.
But I do too. I was literally about to say that. I run with that title and I own it, damn it. We bought it. Honora approved. We can own it.
I don't understand a streaming service who's getting into physical media. Why would you have any? What's the problem? Exactly. They buy films and they distribute their own films, and now they want to put them out on disc. Put them out everywhere. Put them anywhere.
Twice.
Just put them out. I want them. I just sell them wherever. I mean, what's the problem here?
I loved the amount of people that read this announcement and had zero reading comprehension, because the comments were like, all right, maybe we can get a release of In a Violent Nature, or maybe we'll get a better upgraded release of whatever title. And it's like, the titles are listed in the post of what they're like. This is the full announcement. Come on, guys, let's read. So let's go through these. They are going with Arrow Video to put out Night Watch from 1994, The Sadness from 2021, Deadstream from 2022, Speak No Evil, the original from 2022, Husera the Bone Woman from 2022, Hellbender from 2021, Night Watch, Demons Are Forever from 2023, and Perpetrator from 2023. Hellbender is the only film being released exclusively in the U.S., Night Watch, Demons Are Forever, and Perpetrator are all receiving a dual release in the US and UK, and the remainder of the films are only going to be released in the UK. The Sadness will be in 4K. The rest will be on Blu-ray. I did leave the typo there on purpose for everybody that was laughing at that. They listed in Variety, a very famous, well-edited, supposedly publication, Night Watch, Demons Are Forever, and I thought that was hilarious for everybody named Damon.
I may get that Deadstream. I'd love to see what they're going to put in the UK release for it.
Yeah, I've got I think it was a German media book release that looked like the Evil Dead 2 cover, but that's a movie that I think deserves really great special features.
It's really good. I really dig that movie, and I haven't gotten it on disc yet, but I know it won't be on 4K, but that's fine. I love what Arrow does. I think it's like almost an instant buy if it's something I want from them.
Right.
And I don't mind getting it from from the British side as well. And if the Blu-rays region 2, I don't care, it's fine, I'll get that. So I'm excited for what they'll do with Deadstream. I'm curious what sort of extras, if they'll do something new. They might just port over what they had, that's fine. But I'm curious. I'm hoping they'll do something a little extra, but we'll see.
I'm very excited. This will be the first HD release of Speak No Evil, the original one. It had been announced as coming to Blu-ray in the UK, and that got canceled. At the time, we were wondering why. This is why.
Yeah.
So that answers that question entirely. And now, hopefully, we get good extra, since that has not had a release at all. Which, great movie. The original and the American remake, very different films, but very good. And honestly, the American one was way better than I thought after seeing that trailer 412 times last year.
James McAvoy is so good, dude. He is such a good actor.
So good, and has muscles I did not know existed.
Yeah, that was upsetting. That was upsetting as a man of a certain age and also Scottish. I was like, that's really unfair, James. That's unfair. But okay, well, whatever.
All right. That is the big Arrow announcement. Next is the first Kino announcement of the week, coming on Blu-ray. Hold That Blonde from 1945 has a new 2K master coming eventually on Blu-ray. Veronica Lake is the big name here for most people as well. Have you seen this one?
I have not seen Hold That Blonde. This is one of those, and I'm like, well, let's see that Kino sale. Who knows?
This will be a great $7 title in a couple years.
I know, like, give it a shot. Veronica Lake. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. Also, very odd eye art on the poster. Like, I know she's supposed to be winking. It doesn't look like a wink because they didn't do anything with the muscles. It looks like she had a stroke.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, or yeah, she's maybe having Bell's palsy. I don't know. There's something going on there that isn't good. The cover is not. It does not scream, "Throw me in the player and let's go." But that's probably the original poster, and that's fine. Right. Could be a very good movie.
I'm gonna laugh now. Watch, we get the film, and the main storyline is about Bell's palsy and how you can still be a thief or something.
No disrespect to people that have been through that, you know what I mean? But yeah, it does look a little weird. She's got a wonky eye there. Yeah, and Colton's correct. The poster's even telling you, wait for the sale.
All right. They announced Beethoven. Yes, that Beethoven with the one and only Charles Grodin coming again to Blu-ray someday soon from Kino. This coming from a 4K scan of the OCN, and they think Beethoven only deserves a lateral move from blue to blue.
I was good. I was going to ask you about this. I was like, they have a 4K scan, but they don't. I know Kino does this sometimes. They will sell the regular Blu-ray and then they'll upgrade. Are they just seeing how this sells, and then they'll do a 4K? I mean, I know it's expensive to do a 4K, so maybe they're just seeing how this sells first.
Theoretically, but also, I mean, this is the sweet spot. I mean, this is most people collecting physical media nowadays watch this between the ages of 8 and 25, and now they're your main customers, and you're just like, let's just do an okay job with it, I guess.
My kids love this movie, so I'll be getting it. You know what I mean? Like, they're maybe, our oldest is probably aging out of it, but they still love Beethoven, so it's like, I'll be getting it. I'll be picking it up. I think I have it on DVD, so it'll be an upgrade for me.
By the way, I totally forgot. Wild cast in this movie. Charles Grodin, Bonnie Hunt, Oliver Platt, Stanley Tucci, David Duchovny, Patricia Heaton. Like, names do not stop on this one.
Yeah. It's Beethoven. Yeah, I mean, I am shocked that they don't do you have the 4K, you have it.
Right.
I don't really understand it. And they don't often do HDR, right? So it's like,
no. I mean, unless it was done before for them.
Yeah, so I don't know if they have to, is it going to be that much more expensive just to do the 4K? I mean, I don't know. That's a question for Frank, I guess, but I don't understand why they wouldn't do it. But
and Jim could be right. It could be that the 4K rights for this one are too expensive, but
that's true. Yeah.
At the same time, there's already a Blu-ray out there, and it's not egregiously bad. It's not like a stupendous Blu-ray, but it's not egregiously bad. Just don't license it. It's still in print. Like, you can still get it for like $11 right now. Why release this for $15?
Stefano 75. Who's clamoring for this to be on 4K? Well, I am, I suppose. You're talking to two of us are talking about it, so I guess the two of us.
I mean, if that's the case, why do a 4K scan of the OCN?
Right. The only issue is that it's already been scanned in 4K, so why not? I mean, it's okay if you don't. I'll still get it. I'm still probably going to pick it up. But yeah, it just feels like it's the avenue's there. But, you know, maybe like Jim was saying, maybe it's just too expensive.
All right, let's keep going.
I love the contentious Beethoven talk. This is great. This almost got heated. I love it.
I didn't think that a dog would be the most controversial thing we discussed.
This is awesome. We're off to a good start.
Flicker Alley. We don't get to talk about them enough. They don't put out a lot, but when they do, it's pretty much the highest quality that you're going to see on them. March 4th, they are releasing, as part of their Flicker Fusion series, Behind the Door from 1919 and Below the Surface from 1920. These are paired for the first time, both newly restored and available in their most complete versions. You've also got original scores for both of these. They've been re-edited and retitled for Behind the Door, at least, and that's the Russian version as well. You've got a bunch of extras on here. There's short films, there's essays, all kinds of stuff to make this worthwhile. The big thing for those that don't know about Flicker Alley, because we don't talk about them enough, their stuff can come across as expensive, and I get that. Nobody's necessarily going to argue with that. On release, this will likely be $35, and you're thinking, what? That's high for what just seems like a couple of silents, and that's true. But you're also literally like giving money to pure like blood, red, sweat, and tears poured into this film restoration and everybody archiving this properly. Flicker Alley does incredible work. This is going to be a magnificent release.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the movies. I don't know a ton about silent movies. I've seen some of the, the bigger names, but they do good work. That's what it's all about. Film restoration is the joy of physical media. So,
yep. And if that's not enough Flicker Alley for you, They're also doing Merry-Go-Round. This is from 1923. This is Flicker Alley working together with Blackhawk Films again to present for the first time ever on Blu-ray the new restoration of Merry-Go-Round. This is, let me see what they said here. Thanks to the dedicated restoration efforts of Blackhawk Films with the support of the Sunrise Foundation and many archives throughout the world, from Austria, Denmark, France, and more, in a deluxe Blu-ray edition. This is going to have a commentary. You will get to explore Vienna in the years before World War I with 17 minutes of historical footage, which honestly, that kind of stuff I always love to see on discs.
That would be rad. That would be rad.
Nothing is ever going to look like that again, and it's so cool to see stuff like that.
And Eric von Stroheim. So I mean, this one had me
Exactly.
intrigued. So but that's be pretty cool. I haven't been to Vienna in decades, but I did go there once, and it's a beautiful city. So that footage would be really interesting to see.
Yeah. There's also a new restoration of a film called Old Heidelberg from 1915 included on this as well. There's
that one. Everyone's seen that. Everyone's seen that one.
Behind the scenes of the new restoration with the film Restorer, which love stuff like that, and then a new essay on the production. And then, of course, Fidelity and Motion did the authoring, so you know it's going to look as best as it could.
That's awesome. I love a bonus movie when you're buying a movie. That's the best. That's
literally the best extra.
yeah. Golden Ninja does that all the time. I love that about them. Yep. And they'll have like a secret movie they hide in their menu, which I love.
On top of the already bonus movie that they advertised, and suddenly there's 3 or 4.
It's so great.
All right, next up is William Tell from 2024 getting a UK Blu-ray release on March 3rd. This is with Ben Kingsley and Jonathan Pryce. I had not heard that this was a thing at all. You got an audio commentary on this with the director and the producer and some trailers. William Tell.
Feels like we're really desperate for that IP. I feel like that's what this kind of screamed to me, but I have not seen the film. It might be amazing. It might be an incredible movie about this, but according to someone, it's a rousing old school Hollywood epic.
What's funny, but when you were done, I was about to say, I've heard there's some powerhouse performances in this.
I mean, I don't know. Could be great. I don't know. I had never heard of it until you made this announcement, and I was like, geez. But that was sadly my first cynical thought. Like, we're really scraping the bottom there. People know William Tell sort of, at least vaguely, so we should make a movie about it.
Next year, we're announcing Newton and the Apple.
Yeah, exactly. Johnny Appleseed. One of a trilogy. An action epic. Okay.
Oh, man. Go into the next one. This is going to be really cool for a moment, and then I'm going to say something really crappy about this. March 19th. Australia is getting a release from Madman Films of the Adam Elliott collection. Adam Elliott is the one that did Mary and Max and this last year's Memoir of a Snail, Oscar nominated. This is the first time on Blu-ray of all of his shorts, everything. This gets everything he's ever done, plus a 56-page booklet and 6 art cards. This is an excellent release. That being said, the shitty part here is the label released Memoir of a Snail 2 weeks before they announced this was coming out. And a lot of people bought Memoir of a Snail and would have rather had this. And so it's not going to be a bad release for those of us that are seeing it now. But that is kind of really shady to do it like that.
Who do they think they are?
They're madmen.
Well, that's a bummer to hear that. But when I saw this, I was very excited because I just saw Memoir of a Snail, and so funny. No, great comedy galore. No, it's yes, Silent Mandible, indeed. It is it's such a good movie, but I'm lucky that I was going to show it to my kids. I was like, I'll save this up and I'll watch it with the kids, and I finally decided to do it on my own, and I was like, oh good, because this was it ends on a good note, but it is a ride, an emotional ride, but I really dug it, so I'm excited for this collection. So I did not buy the disc, so this looks awesome. So as long as it's good for people like me that missed the original release,
it is.
And hooray!
And if you want this, you can pre-order it now from Orbit. They've already stated they're getting some in, so that is
cool.
a really easy way to get that. But for those that have never seen it, and maybe you've never seen Memoir of a Snail either, Mary Mack's freaking masterpiece. Genuinely, like an incredible modern filmmaker. He is incredible at what he does.
Yeah, he's Memoir of a Snail was awesome. So I was excited that the nominations. I was very excited that got nominated because it's well deserved. Well deserved.
Keep a note though, this does say art not final. Perhaps they're going to make those nipples just a little bit bigger. You never know.
Just tweak the nipples. I mean, that's what I always say.
That's what I've heard. It's that a clay version of Charles Nelson Riley. Oh, Jesus,
now I can't unsee that. Now I can't.
Never.
I can't see it any other way now.
And now I desperately hope that is the final art. Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Hey, speaking of Australia, Umbrella had a hell of a slate.
Oh
These are all coming on May 7th. This first one is the one that they've been teasing for a while. The Fall from 2006 coming on 4K. Going to scroll through some of the key art here. This is the first time that it's been in 4K, although it is coming in 4K in the U.S. later this year from Mubi. And at some point, I mean, Mubi might do it in the UK as well, but I'm sure it gets a UK release on 4K as well. This is what many, many people have called literally the most beautifully shot film ever. Obviously, that's high praise, but it truly is a gorgeous movie. We've got a audio commentary by Tarsem Singh himself. We've got an audio commentary with some actors, producers, co-writers. We've got some interviews on this. Making of, visual essay by Virat Nerhu. We've got The Quest for Origins, Trauma, Cinema, and Storytelling in the Fall by Anton Batel. Some deleted scenes, making ofs. And then, of course, it's an Umbrella release, so it's going to come with all this fantastic art cards and written essays and all of that. How do you feel about The Fall?
This has been one that people have been waiting for a long time.
Yes.
And I think it was like somebody found a 4K scan of it, and that's how this kind of came about. This is great news. Big fan of Losing My Religion. I saw that. I've seen a lot of Tarsem's work, particularly that video, which I've seen about probably 500 times back when it was playing on regular rotation on MTV.
And in MTV, every video store.
Yeah. Oh my God, everywhere. But no, this is a beautiful movie. I'll sell it to people that haven't seen it by saying this is Tarsem's Adventures of Baron Munchausen. That's how I would sort of describe it. And it's about sort of storytelling and this girl and this guy, and she starts to imagine the story that he's telling her. And it is just gorgeous to look at, like incredible cinematography. So I will be picking this up. It's good. It's worth getting. I'm excited for this one. I think Umbrella, I agree, who Paul, I think, said in the comments, it's an incredible slate this month from Umbrella. Just wild. But this one feels like, holy crap. Well done.
Craig points out this film shouldn't be mentioned without saying Aiko Ishioka's name. She's a huge reason why this is so beautiful. True.
Yeah.
The other thing to point out, too, Umbrella has not had the best reviewed discs previously. They've had some problems on some 4K, some compression issues and stuff. They made sure to advertise that this is being authored by Fidelity in Motion, and that's literally already the second time we've mentioned that, and we've not even been doing announcements like 15 minutes so far.
Yeah.
Proves how important David Mackenzie's work is to all boutique physical media right now. When you can say one company's name and everybody goes, oh, thank goodness. Okay, I can trust it. That's a big...
So true. Yeah, there is some issues. I do love Umbrella, and I ordered a lot of stuff from them because I really do dig what they're doing. But yeah, I love their box sets are just awesome. They're so gorgeous to look at.
Yep.
But this movie is really good, worth getting, I think.
And has been really difficult to find on Blu-ray. It had a US Blu-ray, and it has gone from like $30 to secondhand market like $70. This is likely worth a purchase, whether through Umbrella or wait for Mubi. Nobody's going to say either way. But if you've never seen this, strong recommend. Great one.
Yeah, are there fans of Immortals out there? Subaquatic is asking. I don't know. I saw it in the movie theater. It was pretty empty, but I saw it. I was there.
Yeah. And yeah, Fidelity Motion kills it. Yeah, absolutely. Next title from them is Shudder from 2004. This is a title that I definitely have not seen it probably since 2006 or 7.
Okay.
Damn fun movie. Absolutely worth it. It definitely feels early 2000. And if you've never seen it, I think that if you are nostalgic for that time period and the whole J-horror, K-horror type craze that was going on back then, you'd probably like it. This one, if you get the big umbrella box, you get the 4K HDR feature, 48-page book with behind-the-scenes experiences and essays, custom rigid slipcase, custom slipcase artwork, 8 art cards, reversible poster. It will be a numbered release. And then the on-disc extras, you get an audio commentary with Pierce Conran and James Marsh, new interview with the directors, new interview with the writer and director, new Shadows Out of Asia, Shudder and the Asian Horror Boom by Travis Johnson, and then some behind-the-scenes and stills gallery. Have you seen Shudder before?
I haven't. That was one I was trying to squeeze in before tonight, but I didn't get a chance to. But this looks interesting, and I really want to check it out. But I have not seen it.
Definitely one that, like I said, if you liked the early wave of J-horror, you'd probably like this one. It's a good title. Although I will say, if you are trepidatious about Umbrella stuff, I definitely picture Arrow is probably going to release this at some point. This screams like an Arrow title.
Though somebody was saying, Sibner was saying there's like already 5 releases of this movie at this point.
Yes, there are. There are quite a few on Blue, though I believe this is the first 4K of this.
Okay.
I may be wrong, but yeah, I think this is the first 4K.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. It looks good though. I wanted to check it out, so it is available. So I'm going to check that one out. See if I'm going to order it.
Yeah. Next one. This one is a Blu-ray, not 4K. This is Storm Warning from 2007. This is Jamie Blanks. If you don't know that name, he's the guy that did Urban Legend, Valentine. Excellent director. This film kind of rules and does not get enough love. For some reason, I think there was a problem with rights for a while. You couldn't see this for some time. It wasn't available on streaming. I don't think it's had a Blu-ray release in the States that's been available or anything like that. This will have a CD soundtrack of the original score that Jamie Blanks did, and the score on this is impeccable, genuinely great. I've bought the CD soundtrack for this before. Super worth it. 48-page book with behind-the-scenes experiences and essays and stuff. All the same stuff we just talked about. And then there's a brand new commentary with Jamie Blanks, moderated by Cameron Cairns, who did Late Night with the Devil. There's an audio commentary from back in the day with Jamie Blanks and the screenwriter, executive producers. There's a new behind-the-scenes featurette, deleted scene, cast interviews. There's also a new Jamie Blanks trailer reel, and then a new silent number short film, which, again, heavy recommend if you've never seen it. I really like this movie, and I think other people would like it. That being said, I also feel like this is setting up for another release elsewhere. If the rights have been figured out in Australia, I bet this gets a Scream Factory release or a partner label release or something like that eventually.
Yeah, this says Scream Factory to me. This is one I think this is Everett DeRoche script that he wrote in the 80s or 90s, somewhere around there, and he got his hands on it, and he wrote Long Weekend, which is weirdly the one. The last movie that I think Jamie Blanks directed is his remake of Long Weekend, which I was like, why hasn't he directed another movie? If anyone knows, let me know. I'm just I was like shocked to realize that. But Everett DeRoche wrote Razorback and Patrick and Fortress, and he's kind of like written a lot of like exploitation stuff. So I can see why he wanted to make it. And it's definitely, if you haven't seen Storm Warning, this is definitely a throwback to those kinds of Aussie exploitation films. So a couple running afoul of a bad bunch of dudes.
Sibner's asking, do we know anything about the restoration? I just said we don't know anything about it, and I don't even know if this was shot on film. Anybody know? This 2007 and being cheap, I kind of doubt it was.
I wouldn't assume it was. It looks like at least what's available in terms of streaming, it looked pretty much like a set that they had, and they probably shot it on video. So I am curious what the restoration, if the restoration looks better than what's on streaming, because if it does, that would be great.
And even then, it's not it won't be compressed like streaming, so it'll at least look better than that.
Sure, 100%.
All right, and then next, May 7th, they're also putting out Thai Horror, the 8 movie collection. This will include Dorm, Alone, Phobia, Phobia 2, coming soon, Lotta Land, Countdown, and The Promise, along with a suite of new interviews, visual essays, galleries, and more. This will have a 100-plus page book with essays by a bunch of individuals, custom artwork, 8 art cards, 2 reversible posters, and this is going to be a 4-disc set. Lots of new extras on this. Literally every single disc has new interviews, new commentaries, new visual essays. Genuinely great looking set if you are new to all this. I got to say, I believe coming soon is, pardon the pun here, coming soon from Air 4444. But unless you, I don't remember if that pre-order already went up. If you already had that pre-ordered, obviously that might be a tough spot. But if not, this looks to be the better release because you get 7 other films with it. I mean,
yeah, this one, I saw this and I was pretty excited. I was able to watch one of them, Countdown.
Yeah.
Which, have you seen any of the movies on this?
I've not. No, I've wanted to.
So Countdown was okay. It was, like kind of a lot of the movies seem to be in that J-horror, K-horror vibe. It's a lot of like ghosts and spirits. I was reading through all the different synopsises. And Countdown's more of like a bad guy that kind of hangs out with these 3 people that live in an apartment, and then like bad things happen. But there is still a spiritual element to it.
Nice.
It felt like kind of like the setup of it was like, okay, but like the second half of it, it really kind of goes into directions I honestly didn't really expect it to go.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, all right, not bad. So, I mean, I'm very intrigued by this set. It's a lot of like aughts and like 2011, 2012s, around that period of like films. So it's definitely of all of an era. And I started trying to watch a couple of the other ones that you can find them on the Internet Archive, but they have no subtitles. So I started watching a couple of the other ones just to see what the style was, but it's hard to know how good the movie is because you can't understand what's truly happening. So, but as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, this looks very interesting. Especially with the amount of extras and stuff involved in it. It's just like, okay, well, this is an exciting release. I'd be really curious to check this out.
Jeff is saying, how old are these films? I may get 1 or 2 of the years wrong here, but I believe they were all from about 2005 to like 2013, something like that.
Yeah, around that time. Yeah.
Cool collection. What a time to be a collector with disposable income. Ain't that the fact? Silent says, still waiting on Thrilling Bloody Sword and one other release from 4444 to go up for order. Yep, been waiting a while on that Thrilling Bloody Sword. Speaking of Australia,
do you not have that one?
The Gold Ninja?
Yeah.
I have the Gold Ninja. Air 4444 also announced that was coming from them.
Yeah. I have the Gold Ninja one, and it is quite a movie. It is real good.
Nice.
I would highly recommend it. I'm curious to see how Air 4444 does with if their versions, if they did different.
I believe theirs is an actual scan of the negative.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Though there's something to that Gold Ninja release where, that there's kind of like that grungy quality that almost kind of helps it in a weird way. So
built-in punk rock charm, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
I think that's it. Yeah, that was it for Umbrella. And then moving on to Discotheque, who announced a lot of stuff that people are excited about, and a lot of stuff I know next to nothing about.
Yeah, same here. So I'm going to be a lot of help.
We'll be fairly quiet. Just go through some of these details. In 2025, they're releasing Angel Heart, 2005's alternate universe sequel to City Hunter. This will be all 50 episodes in Japanese with English subs for the first time on Blu-ray anywhere. Then we have the Street Fighter, the animated series. This is going to be SD on Blu-ray, all 26 episodes in English, and a whole bunch of extras on this one as well. Then we've got Kamen Rider X from 1974. The third Kamen Rider series races onto Blu-ray, all 35 episodes in sparkling HD in Japanese with a new subtitle translation. Whole bunch of bonus features coming on this one too, coming in 2025. Last year, they released the 4th installment of the Animal Classmates series. But in 2025, they're also releasing Terrifying Girls High School, the other 3 titles, including Women's Violent Classroom, Lynch Law Classroom, and Delinquent Convulsion Group. That's a lot of adjectives.
This is the one I'm most interested in. This is like one of the like Pinky Films kind of series that they did in the 72, 73, I think that is when this series comes out.
Yep.
Haven't seen any of them, but I'm curious. Those films are always sort of interesting. Just, you know, the exploitation films of that time, I think, are always fascinating. So that was one that I was pretty interested in. And I take it back. I did see Angel Heart. It's an incredible performance from Mickey Rourke. I really think it's one of his best work, and Robert De Niro is great in it too. So I did see that. But actually, this is a pretty big year for City Hunter. If you've never seen Jackie Chan's City Hunter, it is a unbelievable, crazy film. But they actually did. There's a new City Hunter remake that is on Netflix. You can get it there. So this is what a time for City Hunter.
See, you've
City Hunter songs.
City Hunter songs. Oh man, I love that. I think that was today. That's twice that we've used the songs in the Disconnected universe. I used the Christian Slater songs reference in the Discord earlier today.
We've been living that since the 80s, bro.
It's true. It's true.
Since 1989's Heathers, excuse me.
Discotheque in 2025 releasing the Happiness of the Katakuris, Takashi Miike's musical horror comedy. This was previously released by Arrow, but has been out of print and fetching some money on the secondhand market. So it'll be nice to have this back in print. Will it have new extras? They don't say the word new, so I'm going to guess not. But it's nice that this will be back out there.
Yeah, I have Miike's like I have a lot of blind spots for him, and this is one of them.
It's easy when he's directed 412 movies.
Yeah, I know, but I've missed a lot of them, and I was like, oh, this would also be a really interesting one. And then I went on, at least, you know, the people I follow on Letterboxd, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know. It didn't exactly you say definitely blind by this, but I'm certainly intrigued, especially him making a movie that's a musical. Like that to me, I was like, well, I'm interested. I'm definitely interested how he handled that.
Knowing what you appreciate, this should be a Ryan Gowland must buy.
I feel like it is. I appreciate that. I need that push.
All right. Next is one that so many people are excited about. I'm going to do my best saying this because I've never heard it said out loud. Uratsu Kidoji and Friends, coming on Blu-ray in the U.S. soon from Discotheque. This
from another white guy, I say well done.
I'm doing better with Asian stuff. I've been working on more Asian films behind the scenes, so I'm hoping to do my best there. This one is a new
historic. Eric says it's apparently absolute filth. So
it is, yes.
I'm like, okay. I'm also intrigued, Eric.
Let me see if any of them say this. No, none of the comments here say it. So on Facebook, I got multiple comments that include the words tentacle porn. Wow. If that's your bag, new historic 2K scan and restoration of the last known existing uncut 35mm prints from a private collection. Emphasis on private. Badly damaged print took 9 months to restore. They took new AstroRes development and reduced David's lifespan by years. That's one of the individuals at Discotheque. Uncut first OVA series included in sub-only SD. Episode 1 was very dim and has had restoration applied. There's extensive liner notes and extras and more. So if this is your bag, good luck.
And it's like they made it look a lot better. That's awesome. I mean, that's just, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go with Eric. I'm going to probably grab this.
I know nothing about it.
Light up that filth. I want to see it.
Well, from filth, we go to prison. Let's talk about Sing Sing getting a Blu-ray release from A24. You can pre-order this on Blu-ray now. It will be shipping in March. Although when they say March, A24 has been shipping stuff early. So I wouldn't be surprised if you started getting this like middle of February type of announcements. This is going to include a commentary with the director and co-writer Greg Queter, but the producer, the editor, and the cinematographer. You got a couple featurettes on here, some deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes photography, but also you should be able to get this fairly widely. A24 has been releasing their stuff widely for the last handful of months. They do have windows of exclusives on their website, and then sometimes they have a 4K on their website, but only Blu-ray in the store. So keep an eye out on this. But this is only coming out on Blu-ray. So if you want to save some change, I guarantee this will be cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah, I haven't seen this yet, but I'm really excited for it. As I said, I like to see plays. So, theater inside of a prison, I'm like, I am in. So I'm excited to see this one.
It's also exciting, and I just talked about this on one of the other podcasts, that Sing Sing finally just got its wide release. It technically premiered in, I don't know, September or something like that. But
Right.
It finally, for the Oscars, just had a wide release like 2 weeks ago. And it's the first film ever to premiere simultaneously in theaters and in prisons at the exact same time, which A24 likely just did that to get a nice headline out of it. However, I still really like that story. It's a really interesting way. It's very humane. Helps the hopeful nature of individuals. Yeah, I like it.
Right. Yeah, me too. They're supposed to be in there for rehabilitation. What's better than, watching an inspiring story about prison
positivity?
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
I'm all about
it.
The art on this one looks good. I really need to see Sing Sing. It's
yeah, me too.
One that's on my list. Film Masters, one of the favorite labels of a handful of individuals I know. They are putting out The New Adventures of Tarzan from 1935. This is the 12-chapter serial that got a brand new restoration. Not many people can do that, and Film Masters is one of them. Glad they're putting this out. This is coming on their archive collection on January 28th, so literally next week, and you can pre-order it now. Yeah,
this is not one that I've seen, obviously, but Film Masters, I love what they're doing. Yeah. Their discs look great. They started off with a couple of great Roger Corman stuff, so of course I bought in early, and I was like, yeah, I love what they're doing. So I don't know. I mean, I'm intrigued because I think they do incredible work over there.
Craig, they were the New Adventures at the time. They might be Old Adventures now.
The New Old Adventures of Tarzan.
Matthew wants to know, how did Tarzan stay so clean shaven?
He's got a knife.
I was about to say, he's literally holding a knife.
He's got a knife. Who gave him a knife is what I want to know. That's crazy. How did he get a hold of that? Where'd that monkey find a knife?
From Jade, our next title that we're talking about, April 8th, Wellgo is releasing Jade from 2024. This is with Mickey Rourke and Shayna West, and little-known indie actor Mark Dacascos is in this. This says, after her brother's untimely and accidental death at her own hands, Jade swore she'd never pick up another gun, but when she unknowingly comes between powerful businessman Torque and her former gang leader in their urgent search for a valuable hard drive that could single-handedly take down Interpol, she may not have a choice. With the guidance of Reese, an old friend at Interpol, Jade must come to terms with all she's faced in the past and present to safeguard her growing family's future. The trailer for this makes this look pretty damn rad. This movie looks great.
I watched the trailer too, and I was like, well, I'm interested.
Exactly.
The guy who directed this, it seems like he's done a lot of like DTV stuff, and I was like, okay, well, that's fine. It's no mark against him. And the trailer of this looks awesome. I'm just nervous that we just got to see all the best stuff from the movie in the trailer, but I'm certainly interested in checking out the movie. So, yeah, it looks good to me.
I definitely want to see this one. It looks fun.
Yeah, it looks good.
Next, The Creep Tapes, the Shudder TV series, getting a Blu-ray release on April 22nd. Loved the Creep films. So glad that Second Sight was able to put out the first one. Just speaking into the ether, you better also have the second one in the works, because we definitely need a Blu-ray release of Creep 2. Did you watch The Creep Tapes, Ryan?
I have not watched any of the Creep films or the Creep Tapes. This one, I don't know why. I think because this one was just streaming, so I never saw Creep originally. I don't think it played in theaters, right? So
no, just Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know why I just didn't see it. I remember that when the first one came out, I saw the trailer a few times, and I just didn't. I don't know. It just missed me. Just one of those things. I don't know.
Yeah, this feels like a very Ryan film as well. This has some aggressively awkward comedy moments, and then
That's my style.
and then on top of that, they pulled out this like awkward horror that makes so like creep is the perfect word. It's so unnerving the way that they did some of this.
Oh, that sounds good. I like the guys that made it. I mean, I don't know. I just never got around to it. But I'd like to check it out. Aggressively fine, apparently. So
Yeah, I've not seen any of the series yet, but the two films I truly
I would start with the movies. So
yes.
yeah.
Silent Manimal says, I've heard that they're working on the third one. I hope so. They've been supposedly writing that for like 9 years or something. I would certainly love to see a finale to the trilogy. All right, next, Scream Team releasing. We talk about these guys probably every, 3 months or so that they put something out. February 14th, they are releasing Looky Loo from 2025. This is a brand new movie. This is a indie horror. If you've never followed Scream Team releasing, this says a budding documentarian's innocent passion for filmmaking morphs into a harrowing obsession, leading him down a dark path of stalking and filming women. His newfound hobby sets off a descent into darkness, from peeking through windows to home invasion to cold-blooded murder. Themes of voyeurism, violence, and the power of images drive the narrative, creating a chilling atmosphere with gritty, disturbing imagery. Looky Loo will leave you terrified long after the credits roll. On disc features, we got an audio commentary, a Scaring is Impolite documentary, interview, cutting room floor, film festival Q&As, and trailers. This will be a press disc. It is not a BDR. And if you want, they have this upgraded bundle that you can get with a signed Blu-ray poster, an evidence bag, a bloody house key. Not sure why you want that, but you can. Black rubber glove, a crime scene tape, a wanted flyer, and a mask cutout. I also wanted to shout out, I know that we talked about punk music ever so shortly earlier. I got really excited. I put on the trailer for this to see if it was something I was like, I'm excited to post about, or if it's just like begrudgingly post about. And they come up in the credits says this film is scored by a band called Harley Poe that I've followed for years and years.
Oh, okay.
They used to be a Christian band called Calibretto 13, and then they aggressively left religion and kept the exact same sound, but put up a middle finger to the heavens. And they are incredible at what they do. They have a song called "The Girl Had Syphilis," and it is so funny. But yeah, to know that they are scoring a film like this, I'm excited. I need the Blu-ray.
She had syphilis, so it's like a
Yes.
happy story. It's like a real happy ending to that song. A tale of one syphilis.
Everybody after this, go to Spotify, look up "The Girl Had Syphilis," and please laugh.
Looks like a bloody key is coming to your door pretty soon there, Ryan Farrell.
I don't need all the extras. I just want the Blu-ray. But
well, you might as well go for it.
I've already got plenty of bloody house keys.
Just your own.
Yeah.
The plot synopsis sounds a little bit like a movie called Sweet Kill, but New World released. It's one of Curtis Hansen's first directorial effort. Just a tab hunter walking around Venice, looking in women's windows and stuff. And Roger Corman adding extra nudity to it to be able to sell it. Again, as the Arousers, which is how he released it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm interested. I don't know if I need all the extras, but I'm stoked for whoever is such a Looky Loo fan that they're like, oh my god, the bloody key, this is amazing. But that's so I know there's someone there that's super pumped for it. That's awesome.
So this is going to sound like I'm defending the tchotchkes. I am not. However, I am genuinely impressed. If you go to their website, just the Blu-ray is $20. This whole bundle, only $35. Like for a poster, a mask, all this stuff, a glove, a house key, real blood, like $35 is not that bad.
Did they say real blood? Did I miss that?
I'm assuming.
They put real blood on it?
You couldn't use fake blood. Who would believe that?
You were like, come on, it's $35. Put some real blood on that key.
Man.
Is that before shipping? Come on, I'm paying get some real blood on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that is pretty
$35.
good price point. And I honestly, there's someone out there that is excited to get that key, and I love that.
And most of them probably worked on the film, but hey. Let's go.
I didn't say that. Yeah, I mean, but they're still excited. That's the point. They're still excited.
As we say in our network, every podcast is somebody's favorite podcast, right?
That's right. That's correct.
All right. We'll go to the next one. March 17th, the UK is getting a release of A Touch of Love from 1969 from Studio Canal as part of their Vintage Classics line. In this cover, you might recognize a slightly younger Ian McKellen with not gray hair.
I did not recognize him, so I had to read his name on there to be like, that's Ian McKellen? I did not recognize him at all.
This has some new extras. We've got an interview with Waris Hussein, interview with Dame Margaret Drabble. It's a very UK name. New A Touch of Love tribute or featurette on Sir Ian McKellen, and then some archival features. And then they go into details on the restoration. I love when we get details on the restoration work.
Yeah. I mean, Studio Canal, I love the work that they do. I've not seen this movie, but I'm certainly interested. Sandy Dennis and Ian McKellen, like, that's intriguing. Speaking of God Told Me To, with Sandy Dennis, does a couple scenes in that movie. It's the only New World movie she's ever appeared in. So, and she's a fantastic actor. I know, right? I'm always surprised. Some people have the good taste to stay away from New World, which is, I'm proud of them. But
most of the time, I think of it like quicksand. You just assume that they were there for a few because they couldn't get out.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was Larry Cohen, and Larry Cohen was shooting it in New York.
Yep.
And at that time, he would do this a lot. He would go to people that were doing plays on Broadway or off Broadway, and be like, "Hey, come on in during the day and get your, make it, shoot for a few days." She only shot for a couple of days. She's in like 2 or 3 scenes, and you get a nice paycheck. You're in a movie, and you can still make your matinees and your plays that night. And they work around her theater schedule, so people were always willing to do that for him. So
it's a win.
Yeah, and he gets Sandy Dennis in his movie, so it's like everybody wins.
It always worked for Larry. I mean, even with the Chicago PD, that's the best part. Little cue the winged serpent humor. Let's carry on.
Love that.
I can't even stay serious as I transition into Inspector Rex.
I don't know this one.
Via Vision is releasing Inspector Rex, the original series 1 and 2 on Blu-ray on March 26th. This is coming in Australia, of course. This is the first time it's been on Blu-ray anywhere in the world. All 29 episodes from the first 2 series, fully remastered in HD in widescreen for the first time on disc. You've got the original Austrian broadcast order and no extras, I don't think.
Is the Rex invisible? I don't. I could be in if that's the case. I've not seen this. I'm not aware of it. I will say I just started watching Deadlock, which is an Australian show. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. Really good. Nice. No, it's not Inspector Rex. It's tangentially related to what we're talking about in the loosest of all bases, but still, there you go.
The cover you can't even take seriously. Like, he's looking at some danger on the right. His mouth isn't closed on the left. A visible gun, dog's mouth open.
Inspector Rex is the dog, right?
I assume so.
If the dog solves all the cases, I will spend all the money for Via Vision to send that to me. I'll pay the shipping. If the dog figures it out and they're just waiting on him to figure it out per episode, I'm in.
Matthew says, please tell me the dog can talk.
Please. I would be so in. I'll look it up.
Let's get out of here. Indicator in the UK. Today, they announced a handful of titles. These are all coming in UK only. On April 21st. No U.S. releases here. And they're all classic Hollywood again, like they've been doing quite a bit of. This first one, Little Man, What Now? From 1934. This is with Margaret Sullivan. You got a 2K restoration on this one, an in-depth discussion On the film by Jeff Andrew, you've got an appreciation of Margaret Sullivan and let's see, brief but significant film career by Thurzo Wakefield. You've got an image gallery, script gallery, limited edition booklet with new essay by Rick Burin and archival interviews. Indicator, quietly one of the most consistent. I say that every time.
Yeah, they do such good work. I don't know Little Man What Now outside of it being a title of a Morrissey song, but from his first solo record, back before he lost his mind, or he was lost his mind in a way that we were all comfortable with.
Shout out to the comment that says, "I guess Morrissey likes this movie."
Oh yeah, who said that?
Celeste.
Oh, Celeste. Yeah. Thank you. Good job. You're with me. That's what I was like. Oh, that's what I immediately thought of. Oh, that's a Morrissey song. Maybe he got it from this movie. I don't know. I've never seen it, but Indicator does amazing stuff. I love everything I've gotten from Indicator. I've never been unhappy. So who knows?
We are getting Inspector Rex puns galore.
Loving all of the Inspector Rex.
Inspector Rex will work the case to the bone. If you won't talk, he'll rough you up.
I mean, I hope we've sold some Inspector Rex tonight. If we've done anything.
Whoops, I just closed it because I was laughing too hard. I'm going to get a message from Via Vision in the morning that says, "What the hell? We sold out of our stock of Inspector Rex."
So
did
wild.
not expect that. What happened?
A lot of people in the States really wanted to get
all US IP addresses. Not sure. Can you explain? Here is our next Indicator title. This one is Spawn of the North. This is from 1938 from Henry Hathaway, starring George Raft, Henry Fonda, Dorothy Lamour. HD remaster on this one, audio commentary with Kelly Goodner and Jim Hemphill. We've got an overview of the Lauren L. Ryder pioneering work. They are the one who won an Oscar for contributions to Spawn of the North. On Image Gallery, new subtitles, and then a booklet, of course, new essay by Phil Konkinen, some archival introductions. Never heard of this in my life.
Me neither, but and it's about fishing, I believe. Fishing territories, that's what they're fighting over. So, I don't know. I was like, sounds interesting, but I've never heard of it and never seen it. And it doesn't have a talking dog, so... No, it looks interesting. I just never seen it.
On that note, Inspector Rex says, "Bark in action."
There can't be enough of the Inspector Rex stuff.
Colton says, "Spawn of the North," or what my Kentucky family calls our family in Indiana.
Yeah, that's true. They're north of Kentucky. My wife's from Indiana, so I know.
Inspector Rex reporting for duty. Okay. We'll leave it at duty. Next one, Dangerous to Know from 1938 as well, starring the wonderful Anna May Wong, Akeem Tamaroff, and Gail Patrick. This is based on Edgar Wallace's hugely successful play On the Spot.
Sorry, Joe just said that in the last one that it looks like he's trying to hold one in, which is very
now I'm going to go back to verify.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he definitely is.
He's just leaning in enough because he's like, I have to get going.
Guys, listen.
Can you handle the Spawn of the North? Because I'm gonna
bring it to the south.
I got some Spawn. I got to release to the south.
Oh man,
you guys know what I'm talking about? Anybody?
Oh, I just realized I left that comment up for far too long.
Oh, that's fine.
All right.
You guys are killing it in the chat tonight. You guys are killing it.
Back to Dangerous to Know. 2K restoration, audio commentary by Jeremy Arnold, Guardian interview with Anthony Quinn from 1995, Nurse and Martyr from 1915, surviving extracts from Edgar Wallace's first ever screen credit with a newly commissioned concertina score by Bernard Wrigley. Then, of course, a limited booklet included with this by Pamela Hutchinson and some archival work as well. Anna May Wong pretty much always kills it.
Yeah, Kim Tamaroff, who was one of Orson Welles' a go-to guy, in Touch of Evil and a bunch of stuff. So he worked with Orson a bunch, and I don't know the movie, but I mean, certainly the cast is intriguing. Like, it's Indicator. I'm sure these are good movies. Like
Right.
they have great taste. So I just don't
Craig
know them.
says in 2022 there was a U.S. quarter celebrating Anime Wong.
Oh, well, that's cool. Didn't know that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
All right.
Yeah, Stan, anything with Ekim Tamaroff is worth a watch. I agree. He's great.
Speaking of great actors, Gregory Peck, Anthony Quinn, Omar Sharif in Behold a Pale Horse, also getting a release from them. This is from 1964. This one has an HD remaster. 2025 academic and film historian Caitlin McDonald discusses the transition of the famed filmmaker's novel from the page to the screen. We got a Guardian interview with Omar Sharif from 1984, some image galleries, and then a booklet by Michael Pattinson and some other archival work.
This is the one I was probably the most interested in.
Yeah.
I know that this wasn't like I've never seen it. I know it wasn't popular at the time when it came out, and it seemed like it was going to be a slam dunk, especially with Gregory Peck and Anthony Quinn
Right.
and Omar Sharif. Fred Zinnemann, I mean, he's directed. I mean, he's an incredible director. So, I mean, I saw a little bit of the trailer. I'm very interested in this one. I've never seen it. This would probably be one I go to after I bought Inspector Rex, but after that, I mean, I'll throw this in the cart too. This does look really interesting, and I want to check it out.
This is definitely like if you're shopping an Indicator sale and you're one title short of free shipping, this is the one you go, oh, that's a good pull. Let's throw that one in the cart too.
Anthony said he sent me an Anime Wong quarter, and I did not get it.
I'm the imposter. You're the original.
Oh. We said it. Okay. I read that wrong.
Anthony sent me a package last year, and it got lost in the mail, and he's still devastated because it had like a very expensive eBay purchase and an original one print, and yeah.
That's a bummer.
Inspector Rex, he knows how to tail a suspect.
It should be getting old to me, but it's not. I can't get enough of it. Yes, getting back to what Craig said, Behold a Pale Horse does look really good. It looks good. I'm really intrigued by this one.
I love how after Craig's weird bit of trivia, Travis says, weird bit of trivia, Inspector Rex is a dog.
Who knew?
Oh, man.
And you know what? He's the best dog in the force.
But it's kind of a mature show. If you want to watch it, you better ask your pa. Let's go to the next one.
All right.
We've talked about this title already, coming to the UK, so we won't spend too much time with it. The Count of Monte Cristo from last year getting a release in the US on March 4th from Samuel Goldwyn Films. This one, no extras listed.
No extras, yeah.
Nothing. I could see this getting a better release. In fact, I think this got a 4K in France, but it doesn't have English subs, unfortunately.
I really want to see this, and I know it was playing in LA, but at the times I couldn't work out a time to go see it. I really want to see it. It's also a little long, but I know that there's sequels coming already.
I did not hear that.
I believe there is already a sequel to this in France. I could be wrong, but I believe so. I was kind of eyeing this one in advance, so I was excited when this was going to come out. And then I saw this release. I was like, "Oh, cool! We're going to talk about it." There's no extras. Oh, well, right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see what else is out there, or somebody else puts this out.
Supposedly, though, this is an incredible film. This has like very great reviews.
Yeah, the reviews on this has been stellar. I really want to see it. So,
the poster does not inspire much confidence.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, well. Next up, Oscilloscope. We were talking about this earlier. In late spring, you will be able to get this release of The Vordelek from 2023. This is adapted from a novella that predates Bram Stoker's Dracula by over half a century. The Vordelek is an atmospheric, unexpected, sensorial experience that will leave you reeling and giddy in equal measure. This is coming on Blu-ray and DVD as per most Oscilloscope stuff. If you're an Oscilloscope subscriber in their circle of trust, you will be getting this probably, I'm guessing, around March-ish in the mail. This will have a deleted scene, a behind-the-scenes featurette, a short film called Le Petite Sirène, and then another short film called Le Condiment sur whatever. I'm not French. And then a trailer. This looks fantastic, though.
I started watching this today, and I only made it in about 10, 15 minutes in. I'm intrigued so far. So I probably will finish this tonight when we're done. And just because I'm excited, because this is a potential title that I could be getting at home. So I'm excited.
For sure.
So I didn't want to wait. But yeah, this looks really interesting. So so far so good. I was hoping to have seen it so I could talk about it, but ran out of time today. So
damn good cover art, especially compared to what we just saw on that poster.
Yeah, the Beast of the Count of Monte Cristo for cover art for sure.
The fact that this is something that has inspired so much, definitely one I am eager to put in as soon as Oscilloscope gets me my copy. I need coffee, I guess.
For your coffee. Get your coffee with your coffee.
Oscilloscope is the kind of label that would send you like a bag of coffee with one of your releases as a bonus.
They sent me this one with a pair of socks. My very first release.
I saw the picture. When
I wore them. They were super comfortable and warm. It was awesome.
If you were a sub when they put out Short Bus, they sent you a bottle of lube.
Yes, they still sell that. I think they sell that with the.
I think so.
Yeah. And they pick it up.
March 25th, BBC is releasing Asia from 2024, one of their nature wild animal documentaries. Only coming on Blu-ray this time, not 4K. But once again, you watch any of the trailers for these documentaries and you're immediately intrigued. Yeah.
Inspector Rex. What's around his neck isn't his only collar. Oh man. That is not Steve Coogan, by the way, Sibner. I think you're talking about the Vortilac. But
speaking of the Vortilac, that starts streaming on Shudder tomorrow. Thanks, Colton.
Okay, good to know. See, Shudder, and weirdly enough, when the movie starts, it has tons of like companies that worked on the Vortilac. One of them was Amazon Prime. How were they involved in that as a production studio? I have no idea. Crazy. Perhaps like a foreign subsidiary of I don't know. I don't know. Crazy. I was surprised to see not only a large list of names of who made it just on one single card, but also Amazon Prime in the middle. I was like, wow,
that's odd.
Okay.
I always laugh at that at indies nowadays. Is the first 6 minutes of the movies are 30-second production reels that they had to go through.
We had to get every company in order to scrape together enough money to make this movie.
Each one with their own cinematic flourish for 24 seconds, plus a fade in and fade out.
And then you get to see all the executive producers, and there's just like 6 title cards of like 3 to 4 executive producers.
38 people each put in $1,000 for this.
I mean, you gotta make it. You gotta make it however you can make it. You know.
Vortilac starts streaming on Monday, not tomorrow.
Okay, but soon.
Damn it, Colton! Thanks for sharing the right information. I've gotten so many questions about this in my comment section already. We had already talked about the film Eat the Night coming from Altered Innocence. This is coming on March 11th on Blu-ray in the U.S. However, for the first time in a while, they announced that they are doing a Diabolic DVD exclusive slipcover. And this is the slipcover. Even though it says Dark Noon, this is a play on the game that they are playing in the film. This is designed by Sister Hyde. And I freaking love this cover. This is, if you don't remember, Pablo, a small-time drug dealer, and his teenage sister, Apolline, have forged an unbreakable bond through their shared obsession with the online video game Dark Noon. When Pablo falls from the mysterious night, he gets swept up in their liaison, abandoning his sister to go with the impending shutdown of their digital haven alone. as Pablo's reckless choices provoke the wrath of a dangerous rival gang. The end of their virtual life draws near, upending their reality. The newest vision from Caroline Pojai and Jonathan Fennell is a bittersweet apocalyptic love story with a modern MMORPG twist. A sentence I never thought I'd say again, let alone the first time I said it.
Yeah, I as a game, I would totally pick it up. As a movie, it looks really interesting too. The art is really it works. It's a really effective cover.
The fact that it's all unique and made for the slip is so brilliant. Sister Hyde
Really
genuinely
well
on an absolute tear with cover art recently.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Very, very happy about it.
Just also want to give a shout out to Matthew, who said Rex jumps through a plate glass window about 2 seconds into the show's opening credits. Which, if he doesn't, that is a total miss.
Oh man, we literally could have been the trailer for Inspector Rex tonight. I'm going to call Via Vision myself tomorrow.
Man, I hope we've sold a bunch for him because that's what I hope.
May 13th, MVD Rewind is releasing Tunnel Vision from 1978 on Blu-ray and DVD. Have you seen this one?
No, I've not seen Tunnel Vision. This is one that was like, like a lot of stuff that MVD Rewind puts out, stuff that I remember
Video
seeing on
stores.
the shelves.
Yep.
And not one that I ever got to see. And I don't. How do you feel about MVD Rewind? I have a ton of their stuff, but recently I kind of haven't. I've been very picky about what I picked up from them.
I think I had like the first 30 of their titles, and then the next 2 or 3 I got in and watched and went, these have taken a real hit in the quality tank, and didn't like what they looked like. They still get some good titles in. Like I just got
100%.
Cheerleaders Wild Weekend in. I definitely wanted a copy of that one. This is one I'll probably grab just because it's up my classic comedy type of alley. Definitely in for it. But other than that, like, I know I've already harped on it recently, but something like Hail Caesar never should have been on disc that they did.
Number one, I rented that one way back when, and so I don't need to see that one again. I'm good. I saw it back then. I'm good. I gave it that time. And this one doesn't have the Tunnel Vision. Oh yeah, companion piece to the Groove Tube. Yeah.
That makes sense. Fun.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. There's not an extra on this though, right? On Tunnel Vision, there really isn't.
No, there's a new interview with the co-writer and co-director.
Okay. That's cool. Great.
Although I'm 45 minutes long. Jesus.
I'm always rooting for MVD Rewind. I've loved so many of their releases. I know it's been hard.
And Eric's great.
Eric's a great guy, a really cool dude, and I know it's getting harder for him to kind of get some of these extras and be able to afford to do them. And but I'm always rooting for them as a label. But so I don't know. I'm certainly intrigued by this one.
As usual, they're doing the whole limited slipcover thing. This one in the middle with the 5-day rental sticker is the slipcover. The A side of the wrap is basically the same as the slipcover, but the B side, that's where you get the better MVD art on this one, I think.
Yeah, but I'm a sucker for those like old stickers and stuff like that. Like
I love the way they make those.
I love those. Yeah, I'm such a sucker for that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I hope that they were going to do well. I hope they were able to put more into some of these releases. But I really dig MVD for the most part. So
here's the example from Cheerleaders Wild Weekend of the stickers. They even look like half torn off.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one. I need to pick that one up. I think the last one I picked up was Joysticks. I think it might be one of the last ones I got.
Yeah.
Which I, really dig that movie, and it's a lot of fun. But I've kind of dipped out a little bit. I got to check them out and see what I could pick up.
Nothing wrong with that. Totally get that. All right, just a few left, and then we are done with announcements.
Okay.
Another piece from Variety to cover. They shared the news of The Cloud Door. This is a brand new boutique label dedicated to bringing South Asian cinema to a global audience. This is film programmers from the UK named Omar Ahmed and Ranjit S. Ruprai. The influential cult film Omdar Bidar is going to be his first release from 1988. The launch of this label addresses a persistent void in the home video market, where South Asian cinema has been historically underserved by major distribution labels. Despite the continual growth of physical media and a dedicated fan base for Indian classics, many significant works from the region remain unavailable in high-quality home video formats. Their initiative aims to remedy this gap, particularly focusing on cult classics and contemporary masterpieces that have long been sought after by collectors and cinephiles. They're going to be focusing on classic and contemporary South Asian cinema, with special attention paid to diasporic filmmakers from the UK, US, and Canada. Each release will feature high-def video and audio, emphasizing cultural context and historical significance. They will be doing a crowdfunding campaign for pre-orders for this first film, and the label will target an end of 2025 ship date for that first release. Film clubs will have access to screening licenses at discounted rates, furthering the label's mission of broader distribution for South Asian cinema. And I assume that they've got a lot of great titles in mind. Film programmers, some of the best people to run labels. They've seen a lot of these films. They know how to choose things the audience react to, get buzz going about some of their stuff. But Indian cinema in particular is very difficult because people act excited about them, but a lot of people simply do not buy Indonesian films. They are hard to sell on physical media. And on top of that, they are expensive to license. Some of these, there's one recently that we were looking at with TerraVision that we were really excited about getting and had some talks, and then they re-released the film in theaters and made a shit ton of money and suddenly went silent. So that's how stuff happens sometimes, and they think that they are they are deserving the world to put it out on Blu-ray, even though it's a very niche market. So
yeah, that's unfortunate because TerraVision's Shrigala, I love that disc so much. Oh my god, love that so much. It's another blind. I did not put it to my stack, but that's another blind buy that I'm so glad that I picked up.
Yeah, this is exciting. I am very, very curious to see what they have. I do want to highlight, if you are excited about this as well, make sure you're supporting U.S. releases of this stuff too. The Mondo Macabro Bollywood Cinema box set is a remarkable achievement. Make sure you're getting stuff like that. Get Srigala, get some of the other Indonesian or Indian films that have been put out by some other boutiques. It's really difficult to get some of them, but if you're worried about blind buying, they're almost always worth it for sure.
This one sounds like a company that's trying to kind of go down the Radiance path a little bit. It
seems like it, yeah.
And if there are other labels that are seeing what Radiance are doing and going, we should try to do something like that, then I say I'll take a look and see what it costs to help them out. You know, like that's certainly a great model to go through if they're going to follow stuff like Radiance or Deaf Crocodile, one of those labels, and want to do something what they're doing. Like that's that I'm intrigued. You know, that's what you're trying to do
with what they're doing with modern and cult classic. Imagine if like they have friends and they're like, hey, we can sign RRR and put out this incredible release. That movie's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next, just a reminder, please go vote in the Shelf Shock Rewind Awards. Voting is only open for 8 more days. And also keep in mind, you can do the write-in option on every single category. If you don't love any of the nominated titles, write in your own option. Can't wait to see what you guys think of this year's show. Got some exciting stuff to share. Big hint, Ryan will get to be a part of it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm excited. I already voted already, and now I'm like, I want to look back and see what I voted right away, like it was due that day. Now on the flip side, I have not forgotten to do it, and so I'm not being reminded at this point. I've already done it.
That's true.
So I have that at least. But I'm like, man, I should have taken a couple days, you know. But oh well.
Done some research or something. Yeah, I get it.
Well, no, I mean, I knew a lot of the movies already, so I mean, it was pretty easy for me to fill out. But I should have just sat with it just a little bit, and you know, I could have thought about it just a little bit longer. But oh well, at least I voted.
Looking at the survey is always exciting, especially to see finally who's nominated. All right. Last of the week, we got some details on
Yes.
Film Noir, The Dark Side of Cinema 25.
I pre-ordered this for you, Ryan. I think this is already...
You got 2 copies. Nice.
I'm sending this an Inspector Rex to your house. I know that's what you...
Hell yeah. Inspector Rex and 5 inspectors that probably have names like Rex. It'll be like Inspector Tex in The Flame. So this is the box set from Kino coming on April 8th of The Flame, City That Never Sleeps, and Hell's Half Acre. City That Never Sleeps is a 2024 4K scan. The other 2 are from 2017 4K scans. The Flame and Hell's Half Acre both have commentaries by Serial at Midnight's own Heath Holland. And then City That Never Sleeps has a commentary by Imogen Sarah Smith. Incredible. She does a lot of stuff for Kino Lorber. If you don't know that, or not Kino Lorber, for Criterion.
Right.
She's great at what she does. Absolutely recommend her work.
They're all from the same director, these ones.
Yes.
Look them up. And apparently some of them are pretty good. Probably The City That Never Sleeps is the one that was like the most highly rated.
Big title, yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one. I was like, well, that's interesting that they made it all about one director. That certainly is intriguing. I hope that they have some footage of old Vienna that they put in Inspector Rex. Vintage footage of Vienna
from 1917. 45 minutes long. And it's not the city of Vienna. It's just dogs hanging out in Vienna.
Just dogs walking around Vienna in close up, so you don't really see much of the city. By the way, Craig said that you may know this already, but he said in the chat that they're going to do a set that's multi-film Indian set. I'm super excited about that too. So I didn't want that to go by. You may already know about it, but I didn't. So
I did, but I was also going to share after I brought that off the screen, because I know on the podcast, everybody listening, you can't see this. Def Crocodile teasing our big box set this year is a multi-film Indian set. It's going to be, first off, it's going to be incredible 2025 altogether. Stuff they've announced already. What we know is coming is pretty great, but a multi-film Indian set from Def Crocodile, that checks a lot of boxes for me.
I'm interested in that for sure. So thank you for sharing that, Craig. That's awesome.
As usual, after the announcements, we cover what's coming out next week, just in case you forgot and you want to get a last-minute pre-order in. This usually, since it's the last week of the month, they've got all the big VS, like, wide release. So we're going to skip over those. But Warner Archive releasing Just Friends. That's the big title of the week. The Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart masterpiece.
Digging deep into that archive, Warners?
You got Winchester 73 4K from Criterion. You've got a Sea of Love 4K from Kino.
Yeah.
Daffy Duck's Quackbusters from Warner Archive. Orca 4K from Kino. House MD, the complete series. Underworld Beauty from Radiance. Let's see what else here. Wait Till Your Father Gets Home from Warner Archive. Houseboat from Kino. Frankenstein Jr. The Impossibles from Warner Archive. Teacher's Pet from Kino Lorber. Gabriel Over the White House, one that I need to get as soon as possible. Last Stand at Saber River from Warner Archive. Weak Spot from Radiance. And I think that's the biggest. Cheyenne, the complete series from Warner Archive. Ninja Scroll. I had some people get their steelbook of that get canceled this week.
Ooh.
Yeah. Update for those that had ordered Revenge of the Radioactive Reporter from TerraVision. That is delayed by about a week. Some of the LA shops were closed down for the fires, so unfortunately that had to get pushed back ever so slightly so that we can get stuff in over there. Shout of the Devil from Kino coming out as well. I think
that's a lot of stuff.
That was it. Yeah, for the last week in January, it's still quite a bit.
And Tarzan,
and
the new old Adventures of Tarzan already in shops. A lot of good stuff.
Exciting. Yeah. All right, so that's the announcements, and now the fun part of the discussion always is what are we going to share? What are the surprises? Blind buys. Why do you like blind buys, Ryan?
I think it's exciting when you're buying stuff and you're just like, I don't know what this movie is, and you know, and and then you get one that you didn't know anything about, and you now
Yeah.
have this incredible movie that you now love. And I wish this happened every single time. It doesn't always, but you get to watch this movie and you're like, oh my God, I'm so happy I did it. I think there's some extra joy, not only when you get the rush of when those movies show up at your door, but also like when you watch them and you're like, I was so right on this being absolutely my kind of movie. And I think there's just a lot of joy in that. And outside of that, I think it's expanding a lot of what I've seen and what I've taken a look at, um, and so I think that there's a part of that I love in Blind Buying, and just seeing some of the films that get restored and get released that you wouldn't be able to watch in any other way. Like, but mainly it's just like finding really good movies that I hadn't seen before, and now I have copies that I can watch whenever I want to. So that's the joy of it for me. What about you?
Well, I love them because, as I alluded to earlier, I've not seen most movies. When I was younger, and I've shared this on here before, I grew up in such a small town in California that we only had like the super mainstream stuff. And, being, I don't know, when I was renting stuff without my family, it was already like 2004 to 2006.
Ugh.
And by then, like the 1985 stuff is out of date, and so it's not the stuff that they're pushing or anything. So I'm still catching up on like most of this stuff. A lot of the classic stuff that people have seen, hell, a lot of the like more mainstream Scream Factory releases that have come out, those were the first time I saw a lot of those films was on Scream Factory. I the 10 that I chose for us to cover tonight are ones that I don't talk about much on the show, but there was like 5 that I held in my hand from Scream Factory that I was like, well, this was like one of the best blind buys I've ever had. Something like Ravenous, where Ravenous is a masterpiece. And if I wouldn't have got that Scream Factory disc, I probably never would have seen it. But I've talked about Ravenous on the show probably 20 times. So.
I have it like right up here. It's in my stack of like go-to, because you and I were talking about this, and I still have yet to put it in, but I have it right there so I can be like, okay, as soon as I get a chance, I'm putting Ravenous in there.
Yeah, it's so good. There's lots of titles that Scream Factory put out that aren't great, but I'm still glad that I bought them because they're I usually call them like zeitgeist films. They're reference points for people for stuff like improv or just conversation pieces that people have as touchstones for their lives. But one of the questions that I know is likely to come up in the chat, because this always does when people discuss blind buys: how do you approach blind buys? Are they true blind buys where you don't know anything but like the copy the label puts out? Or are you, I'm going to go read reviews, watch a trailer, and do 7 other pieces of research to determine that I want to blind buy it?
I think I started out just as blind as you can be, being like, this looks interesting. I wouldn't even look at trailers. And I was like, this looks interesting, I'm buying it. But fool me once and all that. You're like, you go a couple that you're like, maybe I should just take a slightly deeper look. But I don't go too deep into the film. I want this to be a surprise. And so, and with Kino, a lot of that is I'm just sort of grabbing stuff because those sales are insane. But yeah, mostly with the blind buys, I just kind of want to look at it. I'll look it up on Letterboxd. I'll just kind of see how people sort of take the temperature of the people that I'm following. Like, what are they thinking? Which is always tricky because you're going to have like 5-star reviews and 2-star reviews. So you're like, okay, so you have to kind of do that math in your head and see like, well, what do I think I would dig on this? But largely it's like, is it a story I like, or is there a director or a writer, or is there an actor, or is there something that I want to see? What are the extras like? But I'm kind of like, just give me this stuff. And if I don't know it, I want to see it. So, and if it just hits me in whatever way, even sometimes if it's just the art, I put it in the cart and I'll go if I can afford it, So Sibner has asked you, that's a good call. That's a good call.
Yeah, I get a bunch of people that ask me. What's funny is I don't know. I guess I have an internal system for blind buys. I think there is certainly a curatorial trust, which makes that sound much fancier than it actually is. But with like Deaf Crocodile, Mondo Macabro, Criterion to a point, and a couple others.
Mhm.
I know that if I blind buy this, I'm at least not going to be disappointed. There are
Yeah.
other labels
Well,
that
learning about labels, and then you can like then trust that they have kind of curated it for you. That's to me the best way of like
right,
fully going in blind. Like there's almost nothing that I'm gonna know about some of the Mondo Macabro stuff or some of the Death
right,
Crocodile stuff that I'm just like, I don't know. I'll just buy it. I'll figure it out later. I
right.
don't know some of the I just don't know any of this stuff, you know? So
I think Craig said that earlier in the chat. Is they pretty much rely on blind buyers because Deaf Crocodile is only grabbing stuff that most people have never heard of. There are also other labels
totally.
that I have done that where I bought without trailers or anything other than like a cover art and a piece of copy, and they've totally let me down. And now it's like, ooh, now I know for this label I'm going to always do a lot of research on. And then there's this final piece which you alluded to. I've noticed psychologically, blind buying is definitely affected by price. If it's $7 or $8,
Mhm.
that's blind buy fodder. I know that
Totally.
even if it's garbage, I'm not going to be disappointed that I paid $7 for a title.
Yeah. It's like less than going to a movie, you know? And so you're like, well, I'd go see a movie and be disappointed. This is like less than that, you know?
Exactly.
So yeah,
So
price point is big, but like I said, I have blind bought some pretty expensive items that sometimes I was happy and sometimes I wasn't. You know, that's just part of it.
there's definitely a couple labels that even the price point has psychologically tricked me into some that I went, oh boy, probably not going to do that one again. Looking at USRS Cinema and Wild Eye, there's certain titles that I should never have had in my collection, but thank you. The fact that I paid $2 for that still makes me feel like you owe me money.
And that's the thing. Like, it's something that my wife doesn't really understand because I have like all this stuff up here, but I also have like a bin of stuff that I bought and
Right.
I'm going through. And it's like this thing is like constant curation. I'm finding the stuff that I really like and I enjoy and I want to watch again and I'm into, you know, like, and you know, so I'm buying lots of stuff that sometimes I know it, sometimes I don't know it at all, and I'll watch it,
Right.
and I'm either going to dig it and put it up here, or I'm not going to like it, and I'll send it to somebody else that will, or whatever. And so, yeah, it's like a curation process. But my wife's like, "Boy, we sure have a whole lot of movies around here." So, but yeah, and I'm like, yep. And other times she's okay with it, and then she got mad at me the other day because I don't own Con Air.
Blame Disney, fucking idiots.
I know, and I was like, well, I mean, there is a old Blu-ray of it that I can
Right.
go get somewhere, but I'm like, I've kind of been holding out, hoping somebody could wrestle that away and put out a 4K of Con Air, because you know. But she's just like, we have all these movies and we don't have Con Air. What's the point? I'm like, fair. It's fair. It's a fair criticism.
That is true.
Yeah.
I will say, can highlight Matthew's comment here. Thrift stores, gold mine for budget blind buys.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great call.
Those and like yard sales, really great places to find. All Blu-rays for $2, and you'll see something you're like, I would never watch this, but for $2, that's pretty great.
I got a bunch of stuff on a yard sale a couple years ago around the corner from us.
Yeah.
And I got they were all $1. I got the whole Spaced series on DVD
Yes,
for
nice.
$1. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, that's
Incredible.
a great call. Oh, yeah. And I was so jazzed to get that.
Sibner shouting out Hamilton Books. I know that they, what is the best way to say this? They have fallen from their peak for sure back in, we'll say 2021 and 2022 when they were getting every single month out of print stuff that you could buy for $5. And now it's like, oh, this title is $8 compared to $15 everywhere else, but that's still great. And you can't really fight with $4 shipping, and that's all they ever charge. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I have a $200 cart currently at the moment that I'm curating and figuring out what I'm going to order, but there's still a good place to get stuff.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into
some of our. It's good to know, Craig.
Some of our titles, sir. Let's go with your first one. What do you got for us?
First one, I told you I was going to pick this one. So, Nail Gun Massacre. Speaking of TerraVision, I had not seen this, had no idea. I had a couple other movies that I was interested in, and I threw this one in at the last second. It's a 4K. It was a little bit more expensive. but I was like, I don't know. This just looks like something I'd probably be into. And I was so right. This movie is great. I so loved it. I appreciate it. I loved your commentary. But on top of that, I just dug the movie. The movie is super fun. It's super fun. And I was like, this is totally my jam. I totally love this. I tried my best to get it on the Shelf Shock Awards. Tried like crazy. This is such an upgrade, I know, even though I didn't know the movie before. And I just thought this was a stellar disc. So good. So glad I have this.
There's so many things about that movie that I love. I will say, I think this was either our first or second commentary that Will and I ever recorded together. I do wish that we could go back and redo it again now, but there is the most awkward intro ever when literally the film starts and there's a gang rape happening, and Will and I on mic literally say, usually we'd introduce ourselves right now. However, we are starting with a brutal gang rape on screen. And that's a way to, I apologize in advance for using this phrase, but it's a weird way to pop your commentary cherry.
It is. Yeah. I don't know what it is that I've, dug so deeply into 70s exploitation that a scene like that, I'm like, yep. It's just one of those things. It's like it's a barrier of entry. You just have to. It's never going to be my favorite scene in any movie, but okay, here it is.
I'll share something with you off camera about the one of the interviews for that disc.
Okay.
We'll
okay, great. Oh, cool. It was a lot of fun. Awesome.
I did my best. I think I stuck to it to choose only one title from every label. So I wanted to cover 10 different labels to share that I was going all across the board and go into some that I don't ever talk about enough. And so first one, this is a label that is kind of no more, but also maybe doing BDRs again, but also probably not because Sony just bought them. Draft House Films. Put out 43 movies, something like that back in the day. You used to be able to buy these in vending machines at all the Alamo draft houses, and the film from their lineup, I should probably caveat, Wake and Fright is probably the best film they put out, but the film that took me the most that I blind bought from them is this movie called I Declare War.
Okay, I've seen that
I Declare War is a brilliant film from 2012 about a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds that go into this field by their home, and they are imagining having a war together. But what we see is all of the real weapons and blood and everything, like they're actually having the war. And it is shot in the most Goonies adventure type of exciting point of view from a kid's angle. It is really well acted for something like this. The effects are genuinely great for a very low budget film. This movie captivated me from start to finish. Loved this thing. I've rewatched this a couple times. Totally worth it. Lots of bonus features too. Multiple audio commentaries, which you don't get a lot of the time. Even though Nailgun Massacre, not to toot our own horn, but I think we got 3 or 4 commentaries on there.
Yeah. A lot. It's stacked.
2 of them are new commentaries on that disc.
Stacked. This disc. It's unbelievable.
I Declare War is amazing. Everybody should check it out. And yes, Sibner saying, what about The Invitation? I love The Invitation. It's really great. But this one was a little more impressive on the everything side of it. The Invitation is probably a better film, but I think this was the better blind buy. I expected The Invitation to be great.
That sounds rad. Is that still available? Do you know, or?
Not exactly, but it's not expensive. You should be able to find it for less than $30 secondhand.
Okay. For the most part, I tried to check and see if they were available, the discs that I picked. And I'm looking at it. I don't think I picked anything from the same label, but I wasn't doing that on purpose. But nice. I did it anyway. But that said, I don't know if Nailgun Massacre is available, but I'm assuming
it definitely is.
Okay. So the next one, I love this label too. This is a total blind buy city for me on this label because I don't know half the stuff they put out, but this is one of my favorite movies to come out the past few years. That's nice. Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. Third Window just does some great work, and they're just putting out so many cool, interesting films that I've never heard of. And this movie rules, It's super short. It is one of those sort of time travel movies where they sort of find that they can go back. They can basically go 2 minutes, basically in time, and that's basically what it is. I don't want to say any more. It is just a delightful movie, really fun, funny. It's done on a low budget. It's almost a single location.
Yep.
Incredible the amount of work when you see like what they have figured out how to do it. It's almost one of those that's also cut into like one cut or made to look like one thing. And it's just a great movie. I really love this film, and I did not know about it, hadn't heard of it, bought it. So happy I have it.
Very charming movie, I would say.
Yes. Oh, incredibly. Yeah. The whole cast
also
is super interesting, super fun, and it's just a really fun, great movie.
Shout out the writer and director. The same team put together River, which was also released by Third Window, also released by Graveface, the parent company of TerraVision. Very similar plot to a point, but a massively different film. Absolutely great.
I have that release. I just have yet to watch it, but I have it. I have River.
It's a good one. My next one is just like Third Window, a UK company that does not get enough love. They put out some of the best films of all time, literally, and they seem to get overshadowed by everything. So really wanted to make sure that I got something from the BFI here. BFI is quality forward. They're putting out Chronos 4K. I'm extremely excited about. They just put out the better version. Arguably of Seven Samurai 4K. Criterion's is different, not necessarily better or worse, but just for some people, if you're a Seven Samurai diehard, you might want both. This release was also released by Criterion. This is the vastly superior version of the film Targets, which has a big tie to Roger Corman, and one that I grabbed because I wanted to talk about it with my buddy here. Targets is a masterpiece. Look at that. Great covers on both. I think both are equally incredible pieces of art.
I got the Blu-ray on the sale, but then I saw this one and I was like, damn it.
So for those that
wrong one, damn it.
Those that don't know, this is Boris Karloff starring in a story essentially about Boris Karloff, an old aging horror Hollywood actor. And essentially Corman had some, I think it was like 2 days worth of filming that they could do with Karloff that he owed him, and a bunch of footage from another film. And so Bogdanovich built this film together with essentially no budget and 2 days with Karloff, and created a masterpiece. This is a story, like I said, about Karloff aging out of the Hollywood system, while at the same time there's a sniper shooting people on a highway in Southern California, and then those two stories converge, and it is extremely relevant to today. It is a shocking film, a beautiful movie, really well shot for what they were doing, and again, like a testament for what you could do with the Roger Corman Film School. And this is the type of thing that makes me love movies with a capital M there. It is such a feat of storytelling and of like literally saying, we have 14 cents. What can you do? And somehow it's one of the most compelling pieces of all time. That being said, not necessarily to put Criterion down, but this release, Criterion could never have a new special features block that is that size. This release, new restoration, supervised by Bogdanovich, audio commentary by Bogdanovich from 2003, new commentary by Peter Tonguet, an introduction by Peter Bogdanovich from 2003, hitting targets on her father, Boris Karloff, from 2022, done by Sarah Karloff, a 40-minute interview. On target, Boris Karloff in the 1960s, a 17-minute Stephen Jacobs featurette on this. Gentlemen of Horror from 2023, a visual essay on Boris Karloff by the BFI's Vic Pratt. The Guardian interview with Peter Bogdanovich for 42 minutes. Another Guardian interview with Roger Corman, that's 64 minutes. Then we've got, Trailers from Hell, Joe Dante on Targets from 2013. And then newly commissioned sleeve. And then, of course, on top of all that, a hefty booklet, like a really well-sized booklet. This release, on release, was cheaper to purchase in the US than the Criterion release, and it is better on every single level.
You're gonna make me double dip on targets, especially when we get to our Bogdanovich series. But also shouts to Polly Platt, who is at least has experts of an interview on the Criterion and was instrumental to Bogdanovich's career. But yeah, he owed Corman a couple days, but he did stick around for a little bit extra because he liked Bogdanovich and Platt as well. They were all friendly and dug what they were doing, so he put in just a little bit of extra time. But yeah, Corman just saw something in Bogdanovich. He had done a little bit of script work, and I think he'd done some second unit for one of his movies. I think The Young Racers. And so, really gave Bogdanovich a chance. And this is what he did throughout his career. He gave people a chance. He didn't give you much money, but he was like, you can do what you want. He also didn't put a lot of control on you until sometimes you got into the editing room, and then he sometimes liked to, do what he wanted to do sometimes. But
or request nudity.
Or request that you reshoot, yes, and add nudity, yes. But you know what, Barbara Peters, I'm so sorry he did that to you, but Humanoids from the Deep is a classic. And, I apologize. I know that wasn't the film you wanted to make, but yeah, so Target's great choice. I totally would have to pick that one up. It's awesome. I love it. So great job.
Next for you.
The one for me is one I had not even heard of. It's a label that I think they've only put out a couple releases. This is from Whole Grain Pictures. This is a movie called Too Much Sleep.
Oh, yeah. They've only done, I think, 2 even.
Yeah. And I just heard about this on a podcast. That's how I heard about it. And I think it was Bay Street Video. And they started talking about it. And they said it was kind of Hal Hartley-esque. I was like, okay, you have my attention. I mean, behind me, you can't see, but I have some directors sections here on my collection. This is my Hal Hartley area. Huge fan of Hal Hartley. I was like, okay, give me some early give me some 90s indie. This is sort of a 90s indie version, I like to say, of Stray Dog, because this is about a security guard who gets on a bus and while he's talking to some girl, his gun is stolen. And then he has to track down this gun. I totally love this movie. This became, not only is this a great disc, it's definitely one of my discoveries of the year. This is essentially lost until this release came out. Yep. People did not know about this movie. It played a couple festivals. It disappeared and now is being brought back for this. So I completely dug this film. This is another one of those things this is maybe not as blind just because I heard people talking about it, but I had never seen it, knew nothing about it. I just immediately purchased it and totally dig this film. This is absolutely worthy purchase. I'm not sure what else Whole Grain has put out yet, but I'm definitely trying to keep a tab on them. So Too Much Sleep.
Good call. That was on my want to buy list eventually, and honestly forgot about it. I need to go make sure that it's still on the list. That's certainly interesting. There's also was it called Shelf Life that just got released? Was another it was another like lost film.
The Paul Bartel one?
Yeah. That's similar vein I got from this film. That was like, oh my God, we finally found it and we need to get it out there. So,
and it's got a great commentary there too. It's the director and the actor, and they kind of like both semi kind of moved on with their careers, and it's a little bit heartbreaking because you're like, this is a great movie. Yeah. And it just got lost in the shuffle. And it happens, and what could have happened to their careers if this hadn't just gotten lost, Yeah, it's a bummer, but I'm glad that we have that release.
My third title is from Arrow Video, and Arrow has put out, literally hundreds and hundreds of titles at this point for the last, 16, 17 years, technically. Lots of stuff I blind bought through them, but nothing has hit me and lasted longer as the one I'm about to talk about. This is a 2020 film, and I really wanted to highlight how they lift up indie films. So many people still talk about how Arrow's just turned mainstream. All they do is stuff like, nothing against what you shared tonight. I love the more mainstream stuff that they've put out. In fact, I've got that exact same release within arm's length. But they're still putting out stuff like Rambo Noir. not the Hellraiser set. The other
Narc?
one that Narc is the big example. Yeah. And then of course the Stallone just lost the title of it. Three Seashells.
Oh yes,
I'm going
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. I want to say Dread, and I'm like wrong Stallone. They still do that, obviously. I mean, we're getting stuff that they've announced that are crazy big titles. Some of my favorite releases for them are like Tremors, one of my favorite movies of all time. But then these indies, like I just mentioned,
right
Rambo Noir. There you go. They're still doing stuff that people have never heard of, and this film was on that list for me. And it is the film Dinner in America. Adam Ray Myers, Kyle Gallner starring, Emily Skeggs, punk rock film that is all about sticking it to the man in every way possible. This movie is start to finish, through and through, one of the best movies of the last decade. Kyle Gallner is incredible. Emily Skeggs is awkward beyond belief and is exactly what this film needed. This movie is about Kyle Gallner running from the police and accidentally running into Emily Skeggs, and then come to find out that she is essentially the biggest fan of him, and she doesn't know that she is because he always wears a mask. And they make a beautiful song together, and the film ends. And I'm leaving out a lot of stuff because this movie is charming beyond belief, and you need to see it. This was also only a UK release. It is, I believe, either out of print or very hard to find now. We need a US release of this. Somebody out there needs to put it out. I believe this would do well on 4K. It was a very pretty film. I don't think it was shot on film. However, it was finished in 4K, I believe, so could do well on 4K. Lots of colors. Great release. We're talking commentary with everybody on this that you could want. Fantasia International Film Festival live streamed Q&A that they did. It was during COVID, so it wasn't in person. There is some interviews, trailers, image gallery, lots of stuff on this. This movie is genuinely a masterpiece, but also this is probably the last time that he's going to be like a small-time director. Snack Shack came out in 2024, and it's also a masterpiece, come to find out. He is an incredible director that finds
so good, dude. So good.
Crazy talent to put on like these small Midwestern stories that mean so much to people, that feel genuinely lived in, with characters like in Dinner in America, Mary Lynn Ricecub plays the mom of Emily Skeggs, and she's so awkwardly perfect for Emily Skeggs. I don't know. You got to watch Dinner in America. I could talk about it for the next 2 hours. Adam Raymeyer.
I really do have to see it.
He's got a huge career.
Yeah, I love Snack Shack. It's definitely one of my faves of the year, and I really need to see this. Kyle Gallner has had a wildly good year. He was in one of my favorite movies of the year, Strange Darling. Absolutely adore him in that, but also really good in this other one that I thought was pretty good called The Passenger.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that one yet. It's pretty good. That's worth checking out. Obviously, Smile 2, he's in. But he's having a moment, and he's really good. Really good.
I've
been, of course, a fan of his.
7 years, and he's always great.
For sure. I've been in on him since Wet Hot American Summer. So I mean, I've been there from the beginning when he was just when his buddy got drowned and he was thrown out of a van. You know, I mean, I've been into him since then and always been following his career. So my next one is also from Arrow.
Nice.
And that's because I love getting their box sets, and I love Giallo films, and I'm a big Giallo fan. And that's a lot of blind buying and stuff, because you just don't know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get some good ones, you're gonna get some bad ones. But this one is a part of one of their sets. You can also get it on its own. But I got it in a set, and I'm talking about the Fifth Chord.
Oh, nice.
Which is one of the most beautifully shot. It's from the Red Giallo set.
Oh, okay, that's right. I sold my standalone to get the red box. That's right.
So this is Luigi Bozzoni, who became like this. That set me off on a road of blind buying his other movies because I really dig him as a director. He was friends with why am I forgetting the name of the main guy? Frank Nero. they were like buddies growing up. So they did a couple other movies together, and he just basically got him because I think Franco Nero at this point was still around that time had Django or not. I'm not sure, but they were buddies. So he was like, sure, I'll do this movie with you because we've been friends for a long time. On top of that, it's shot by Vittorio Storaro, who won the Academy Award for The Last Emperor and shot Apocalypse Now, and is just one of the, Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Reds. Like, the guy has got a stellar filmography, and this just looks beautiful. If, story-wise, there's a killer on the loose, the guy's looking for him, you get it, it's a giallo. But, like, the way this looks is unbelievable and almost unrivaled in giallo cinema. So would highly recommend The Fifth Chord if you can grab it. Not in a set. If you want to get it on its own, just pick it up.
Lots of names associated with this one.
A lot of big names. Like, it's really interesting to find out that they all kind of knew each other and they're all kind of friendly, and then they just have these amazing careers. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Honestly, that's, for me at least, one of the more exciting parts about blind buying, and especially for somebody that loves New World Pictures, is you're essentially like networking in a way. You're creating like this storytelling spider web of this connects to this, which inspired this and connects to this.
Right.
And suddenly you've watched, 4 Corman films, but also like 4 indie filmmakers from the 90s, and went, whoa, like I can see certain scenes out of these, and this actor was in both of these, and that's a great time. It's so great.
Yeah. The web of New World is like, I still am like amazed.
It's unending.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. That's amazing, Craig. Yeah. Storaro is just one of the absolute best to ever do it, and still working, I believe. I think he's still making movies. I think he works a lot with Woody Allen at this point, but work is work.
Yep. We've mentioned Mondo Macabro good 3 or 4 times tonight. I had to bring at least one from them. And I think the first one that got me was The Fan. I've talked about that on the show quite a bit. But this one I mentioned and went pretty deep into on the Mondo Macabro podcast fairly recently. Wildside, go subscribe over there. But really wanted to spend some time here with a 1977 Mexican film called Alucarda, which is a masterpiece. This movie is so good in every single way. It is a Mexican religious folk horror tale of screaming, is maybe the best way to say that. If you don't do well with screaming in films, you probably should never watch this. There is a lot of screaming in this movie. But this movie I really wanted to highlight here because, as I talked about on the Mondo Macabro podcast, they when they made this movie, you expect films like this to have like the trope filled exorcism scene, and maybe like a nun scene where she's getting her top off, we had to do that. This movie actually displays like all of these like truly like religious rites that they practice, and all these traditions displayed in this as something completely different that you just don't see with many other films. This movie is about a friendship between 2 young girls that you expect to go places, and it goes completely different places. It's a very bloody movie. It's a very iconic imagery-filled film, very on par with like The Devils. Obviously, we tied this with Satanico Pandemonium for multiple reasons, and that's similar. It's got a lot of visual aspects and names that have been attached to a lot of things, like Selma Hayek. It's truly a great movie. It's very bloody. The imagery in this, like I said, incredible. I'm not sure how good this is going to show up, but there's like this goat-headed creature that's covered in hair. If you've never seen Alucarda, I don't know that it's going to get a Blu-ray because supposedly there's problems finding the elements. This is like a 21-year-old Mondo Macabro DVD that still looks amazing. The only bad thing I can say about this is they screwed up when they originally released this and printed the wrong year. It's 1977, not 75. But we'll give Pete and Jared a pass for that. It's an amazing movie. Everybody should watch it.
Yeah, that's one I have looked at and almost bought several times, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on yet. And now I'm
Yeah.
clearly going to. So because that sounds amazing, and so I definitely have to pick that up.
Uh,
That's one of those that maybe I think I've heard other people talk about, along with like Lady Terminator, which are like seminal
yep.
releases from Mondo that you just must have.
Absolutely.
Um,
Similar wants to know if I've ever read Mondo Case. I think I do for all the Blu-rays. I think I'm still missing a handful of DVDs, but I mean, I don't know if I need all the DVDs. Hopefully, a lot of those DVDs get picked up by other labels for Blu-rays. That'd be nice.
my next one, I'm going to Grindhouse. This is a movie that I probably should have seen a long time ago, but I finally got the big gun down.
Oh,
I love spaghetti westerns. They are just like candy to me. I just just adore them. But this one is one of those. It's like when people are like, well, "What's a really good
it's legendary.
spaghetti western?" I'm like, "The Big Gun Down." I actually saw the sequel, which is Run Man Run, which essentially is only a sequel in the character that Thomas Millian plays in this movie. And I saw that first, which is odd to come out at this level. But Sergio Solima is the director. He's a pretty good director. He directed one of my favorite Charles Bronson movies, which is Violent City. And he didn't do many spaghetti westerns, but this one is excellent. And as always with Grindhouse, they just have a booklet, the disc, you get the whole soundtrack, you get all the extras. Like when they put out something, like I just buy it. Like yeah. I just, when they're putting something out, I buy it. I just watched, I didn't say it earlier, but I just watched Hollywood 90028.
Incredible movie.
Wild. And I watched it and I was like, okay. And everyone talks about the ending shot. And I was like, okay, well, let's see. And then you get to the ending shot and you're like, yeah, no, everyone's right. Everyone's correct. Like whatever people were saying, yeah, 100%. And it's just like it does recontextualize the whole film. I rewound it several times. I was like, what? Did I just the whole thing blew my mind. So like anytime Grindhouse puts something out, they should. I picked this up in I think some kind of sale. I highly recommend this release. It's excellent. It's a really, really good film on top of being a fun spaghetti western. It's just a really good movie.
For those that don't have much from Grindhouse releasing, a little bit of insider knowledge for what they do. They lean heavily on the, like, we're putting out this limited release of X title, and it has, an example of one that they've done. Hollywood 90028 had a limited slipcover. The one before that had a keychain. They've done the bullet pen for one of their releases. They'll go all in on this is limited. You have to get it now, and then release everything but that little tchotchke for the next 9 years. So if they announce something, don't feel bad. They're still putting out like Cannibal Holocaust with the CD, and that was released like 11 years ago or something. So many of these, they will make you feel FOMO. There is no need. You can certainly wait on these. They are
that's true.
Great titles.
But I would just say, like, if they're having a sale,
jump on it
and grab a couple of them. And because they definitely, like, they don't release tons, but when they release something, you should get it, because no matter what, it's a very good release. So
I agree. This next one might be a little bit of a weird, vulnerable pick, so I'm going to explain why, and apologies in advance if people don't care to know any of this. This is a fairly recent release from a label that I love, ran by Elijah Drenner, who's been on the show before. He runs Decanalog, and this is a 2019 Spanish film called Amigo. This was just released early 2024, 2023, I think.
Yeah.
And this movie is I don't even know what genre to put on it now that I'm speaking out loud. Thriller-ish, I guess. It's not really a horror movie. Essentially, this is about a gentleman that you can see on the front here and his close friend. One of them is in a car accident that kills his wife, and the friend is not hurt at all, but the gentleman is left bedridden. He can't do much of anything by himself. Some weird things start happening, and that can't be explained, but a lot of this film just is the relationship between these two people, one of them feeling guilty and trying to help him, but also the one that's needing help is a freaking giant man. We're talking like a foot and a half taller than the friend. Getting him in and out of the bath is a chore. It is literally dangerous. It is something that, literally difficult to do, and to put yourself through that as a caretaker, it's not easy in any semblance of the word. And as somebody that is 6'5", that weighs more than everybody in my house combined, I fear for a lot of stuff for this. So this movie hit close to home in a lot of different ways. As somebody that literally just bought his first pair of shoes in 5 years this week, because I wear a size 18 shoe, and it's very difficult to buy shoes. I see how much size and intimidating people can change your perspective on things. So this movie, just hard to watch. There's a lot of awkward situations. There's a lot of, we'll say, stuff set up to give you anxiety, and it really works. I think this movie is a bit of a modern low-budget masterpiece for what it pulls off. Very happy with this. Decanalog has put out some stuff that I never expected to get a good release, and this movie is a gem in their catalog. It is so good, and I feel like it was slept on. Amigo, 2019 Spanish film, very good.
Yeah, that I'd seen that cover, and I hadn't. That's why I saw that cover, and I was like, I know that one, but I didn't pick that one up. So now I'll be checking that one out. Decanalog's an interesting label. They really do like a wide variety of stuff, which I kind of love. You know, like they really do run the gamut on stuff. Yep. But I really dig that about them. All right, my next one is from a different label. This is from Massacre Video. This is Mahakal. Which I looked and I was like, do they still have this available? You can't get the slipcover, but you can get the movie itself off their website, and you can get
very cheap, I think,
for a very low price. And I was like, well, that's not what I spent on this movie, but okay. But it doesn't matter, because what matters is the movie. This is a Bollywood ripoff of Nightmare on Elm Street, that also has some great songs and broad comedy, and it is a lot of fun. And by a lot, I mean a lot, because it's long, like a lot of Bollywood movies, well over 2 hours. But this is such a blast, and it definitely rips off Nightmare on Elm Street, like not just the guy with like, so many. But I saw this and I was like, again, this is one of those that early on I think I bought, and I was like, that's a lot of money to spend on this movie I don't even know. But I just pulled the trigger, and I'm so glad I did, because I adore this movie. It's crazy, it's wild, and it's definitely it's worth checking out. You have to square some time apart to be able to see it, because it's long, but it's worth your time.
Mahakal is very fun and very bad, and so worth the money. It's great.
It's literally $10 right now if you want to get it off Massacre Video. It was $10. So I'm like, that's not what I spent, but the point is, go get the movie, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So that's what's important.
So this next one, I got this original release Blu-ray when it first came out from a label that most of us know and love. And I have met Tom Savini in person twice. And I got this film after I met him for the first time, before I met him for the second time, and went, now that I've seen this movie, I need him to autograph this copy. And when I brought it to him to autograph, he literally went, oh. And that movie is Effects, that was released by AGFA. There is the Savini autograph on the front. I had never seen this movie, but with this cover and with the first line mentioning George A. Romero, I never even finished reading the copy. I purchased it. Turns out George A. Romero pretty much had nothing to do with it. It was just his crew hanging out. But I adore this movie. This movie is so damn good. When you get a bunch of people that are essentially in between films, and they're like, let's make a movie about making a movie, and somehow there's a killer, and it turns out into Effects, and everybody that's in it is just super comfortable with each other because of everything they're already doing together. This movie is great. Truly creepy for what it was trying to do. And some of the shots they pull off on this are so much better than like mainstream films, big budget films that were coming out around the same time.
Was that just his crew just deciding to go ahead and go make a movie after they finished one? Basically?
Yeah, literally. Cobbled together with Loose Change by George A. Romero's friends is the first line of the copy. Yeah. It's so good. It was just like a DIY, like a weekend film that they put together. It's incredible.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It reminded me of, again, watching that King Cohen documentary.
Yeah.
Yes, Colton, I do love. Yes, the transfer is great. When he was on Eye of the Jury, which I almost picked as a blind buy, but was fired off of it. Like the next day, he started shooting Q. And then he made sure that he could shoot Q before they finished Eye of the Jury, so he could just finish a movie before they finished the movie he was fired off of.
Right.
That is wild. So that's awesome. I'd like to check that out. I need to check out effects. I'm going to Severin. I was asked to talk about this movie on a podcast, VHS. If anyone hasn't checked that out, it's a great podcast, and I had so much fun talking about this particular movie. I'm talking Carnival Magic. I was asked to talk about this, so Severin was having a sale. I bought it, and this movie is insane. I will mention one of the great parts of this disc is that it actually goes through some of the restoration and what they had to do. This movie was like garbage before they filmed it. It was such a mess. And it's, I think, the second to last movie that Al Adamson made. It's essentially a movie for kids, but it's about a very sad carnival. And this monkey, one guy has.
I love that you don't mention the word monkey before that, and you just go into this monkey.
The carnival is so sad. Everyone there is miserable. Bad things are happening. On top of it, if that isn't fun enough for you, this is, by the way, I should remind you, a film he intended for children. The monkey has a voice that just simply shouldn't be coming out of a monkey's mouth, and it's such a choice. This movie is a lot of choices. It does not have great reviews on Letterboxd. Almost everyone universally hates this movie. I think this movie is an absolute blast. I'm not going to say it's a great film, but it is an absolute blast. And thank you, Cinder. You had me at Sad Carnival. I appreciate that. And there's a commentary. You get to see how they put this movie together. I think this movie is a must-own. I think it's so fun. So, Carnival Magic.
What's going on, Wave? I don't remember. Did Severin put the Severin Kids branding on the spine of that one?
I believe so. Yes. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah, it's on the back. It's on the back.
Nice.
You get Severin Kids. Yeah.
I didn't pick a Severin title, which is kind of weird for me. I probably should have. There's been a bunch from them that I've loved.
If you would ask me like tomorrow to look through all the blind buys, I would probably had a totally different,
entirely different 10 stack. Yeah. When we first started talking about this, other than wanting to choose some New World titles, the first thing I thought of, I could just pull like 7 stacks of 10 titles from Kino Lorber only,
totally.
And just list everything from them. But I knew that I needed to have one, and the one that I keep going back to when people say, what is the first Kino Lorber title that you bought that you didn't see before that really stuck with you? This is that one for me, and I got it years ago, and you'll see, because this is one of their like first slip cases that they did. This is a beautiful movie. I'll just show it now. A girl walks home alone at night. For those that have never seen this, they classify this as an Iranian, what do they say on here? Iranian vampire Western. And it is
such a good movie, dude.
I just want to talk about the style behind this movie.
It is such a fucking good movie, dude.
Beautiful to look at. And then they have like this Iranian score of like buzzy guitars and synth rock that is so good throughout the entire movie that you are swept up in every aspect of this movie. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie.
When she goes in and plays the record, like
yes,
just skates. I mean, I was like, I'm so in on this.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the Southern California kid in me, but like, I was like, hell yes, dude. I didn't get the slipcover, but I got this again on one of their sales, and I was like, how come people aren't talking about this movie? This movie is absolutely amazing.
And literally every single frame of this movie is one that you could pause it and like point out different aspects that you should be taught in film school from this movie.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful film. Such a great choice. Amazing choice. Hugely into this movie. I think it's so good.
Matthew says Iranian vampire western, that old cliche. Yeah, that's the thing I love about so many of these things. Like you don't hear that combination ever other than this one movie. So yeah, it absolutely needs to be mentioned here.
Yeah, it's that old trope. You've seen one, you've seen them all.
And funny enough, that is true.
This is one that I double checked. This is actually one from Vinegar Syndrome, and this is one I checked, and I wanted to just double check to see if this was sold out or not. And this, you can still get the slip. I know that they put this on Subscriber Week, and they had this one out, and I don't understand why more people don't own Alien Private Eye. I adore this movie. This is look. The title says it all. He's an alien. This is the hat he wears to cover up his Spock ears because he's an alien. And he's a private eye. Why? Well, in the movie, he says so he can meet people. That's why he's a private eye.
Inspector Rex would be proud.
Inspector Rex. Oh, God. If they could do an Alien Private Eye, Inspector Rex together. My brother and I both got this one, and I think we talked about it on our podcast. We just absolutely adored this movie. It is so wild. There's a character in here who does a choice to do a voice of an older actor. It's such a weird, crazy choice. The guy who directed it, I think he ended up doing a TV show, and he is... I'm trying to remember the name of the show. It's a TV show where like a guy gets a newspaper and it's like prophetically says like what's going to happen in the future every day. Anyway. And so the interview though with him, and this is why I love these releases and why I love physical media. The interview with him is he's so earnest and he's so excited that people are finding this movie and putting it out.
Yeah.
And it like I already loved it and was like, this movie is wild and I love it. And then he's just like so enthusiastic and so thrilled that people are putting it out. I was like, early edition. Thank you, Sidmir. And Ron, I think, is Ron R1. Ronnie. Sorry, Ronnie. And so Ronnie, the winner of the contest.
Yep.
And so he's just he charmed me even more. Like just listening to that interview, I was like I love this movie. This movie is just so great, and he was so thrilled that people were into it. And I'm just shocked that this still has a slip on their site. It's have you seen this?
I haven't, shamefully, not yet.
No, everyone's sleeping on this one, and I'm just like this one. And Steel and Lace was another one that people were sleeping on.
Steel and Lace was good
ever, and I love Steel and Lace. Any Lady Cyborg movie, I'm pretty much 100% in on. So, but yeah, I can't believe that.
Second time we've done this tonight, though, I'm going to talk about the same label. One of the first Vinegar Syndrome titles that I ever purchased from them, that I sat down with and watched because it was so intriguing on their standard art, and then they put out the slipcover years later, like they did on many of them. This one is still available, and one that I would say is like one of the 5 or 8 quintessential Vinegar Syndrome titles before they sort of went super mainstream Vinegar Syndrome. So like the classic Vinegar Syndrome, this is one that everybody should own if you're into that style. And I adore 1971's The Telephone Book. This movie is a rated X film that is about a beautiful standard art on that. It is so intriguing. The Telephone Book is about a woman that falls in love with an obscene caller and goes on a quest to try to find him. And on her quest, she runs upon just a menagerie of characters that you will find hilarious and odd and eccentric and every other emotion that you could dream of. But my favorite thing is, as many people know that watch the show, I adore animation. And this movie's in black and white, except for a starkly colored animated sequence in this that is beautiful. This whole thing is a masterpiece of cinematography. But that animated sequence, I was like, literally jaw dropped. How is this not discussed day to day as one of the most monumental pieces of work ever? This movie is astonishingly made. It is hilarious, like genuinely laugh out loud funny in many, many parts of this movie. It is the classic Vinegar Syndrome. This is clearly an adult film, but everybody that is put off by that title should really still buy it because it's one of the best films they've ever released. If you have not seen it, it is a must.
I just got this like one of their last sales. I don't know if it was the Black Friday or what, but this is a brand new one. I have not cracked into it. The reason I picked it up is Nelson Lyon, who directed it, worked at SNL, wrote for SNL, I believe at some point, and we have heard his name countless times with people we've interviewed, particularly people that worked at New World after Roger Corman sold the company. And he was a copywriter and wrote copy for a lot of the, trailers and stuff. So how it worked with the trailer department is that they had copywriters that would talk to the studios and they come back. And one of the interviews we had just this past year with two of the trailer editors, Dave Parker and Kevin Soulson, they were just like, he would write these wild copies that essentially were like almost daring you to watch this stupid movie. Yep. Reform Schoolgirls, I think, is one of his. I believe he wrote the copy for the Godzilla 1985 trailer, which won an award. Like, Nelson Lyon is like just a name we constantly hear, and he was a friend of Andy Warhol's. He was just a wild character. So I was like, I didn't realize this was his film. I was like, holy shit, I have to get this movie and watch it. I have yet to watch it, but I was like, Nelson Lyon is like just this guy we continue to hear about. He's just a revered figure at New World. So
I hope you love it. It is literally wonderfully directed, like a masterclass of filmmaking.
Yes. I also wave. I like that you say, I see Alien Private Eye and Steel and Lace every sale for like 3 years. You're 100% right. It totally is. They have been trying to offload these movies, and I'm like, why aren't people buying? These are good movies. I don't know why people are. Yeah. Oh, well. Is it my turn? Yes.
Your turn.
Okay. So had not seen this, but had heard of it. And I went and got the 88 Films version of Ricky-O.
Ricky-O.
Story of Ricky. What a movie this is. I mean, if you haven't seen Story of Ricky, you just need to go see it. It is set in a prison. Ricky-O is put into prison, and hijinks. If you just see some of the stuff on the back, I mean, holy crap, this movie. That guy who he fights at the end. I mean, this is just an absolutely stellar movie. And this 88 Films release, I really, really dug this release. It's got a little booklet with it as well. And I've shown this to friends. I love this movie. It is fantastic, and I had not seen it before, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So Ricky-O, Story of Ricky.
We need a good U.S. release of Ricky-O. I fear for my friends that are not region free and have not been able to pick this up because it is so good. For those that don't know, a German company just released a media book of the Story of Ricky on 4K. That being said, it's not a fully up and up release, I don't think. But hey, it's Ricky-O on 4K, and it looks wild.
It's such a crazy, wonderful movie. I won't say anything about it because I just don't want to spoil it. I'm having so many scenes run through my mind, but I'm like, you just need to see Ricky-O. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it.
I don't know if you saw, I burst out laughing the moment you said he goes to prison and hijinks. It's such a funny way to explain this movie.
I don't want to, it's like, I don't want to say anything that would spoil this movie. I mean, I went in as blind as can be. I knew I'd heard it was a wild movie, and then you see it and you're like, okay, that is wild in ways I never thought. And so I don't want to say anything that would tip what the movie is. Just go see it if you haven't.
Practical effects carried out immaculately.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, it's really terrific practical effects for sure, and good fight scenes.
Very. Oh God, the rain
Yeah.
scene. Oh. Okay. This is one I never got to see when I was younger. It did not get to continue playing on TV. This is a made-for-TV movie, put out by Warner Archive. And after hearing it touted for years, I was worried that finally watching it, it was going to feel less than. But man, I was truly creeped out and loved, and will recommend forever the Warner Archive release of Bad Ronald. This movie is so damn crazy. Ronald, pictured here on the cover, accidentally kills somebody, and not a spoiler, happens in the first like 2.5 minutes of the movie. And his mom chastises him and then tells him to hide from the cops in their pantry, and then wallpapers over the pantry and moves. And Ronald just kind of terrorizes people that live there in so many different ways. This movie is crazy, and it's so weird because it has to be very briskly paced because it's a 74-minute movie. It's acted beautifully, but also just a crazy story to tell in a made-for-TV movie. Everybody's just chilling at home watching this lunatic crawl out of a pantry and steal food from people. Love this movie. If you've never seen it, one of the best made-for-TV movies of all time. It is so damn good.
I'm about to say a made-for-TV movie, and that's one that I have not picked up, and I need to pick up, and I should remember it because there's not many Warner Archive sales anymore, but
no,
I used to grab stuff all the time when they had those sales. That's how I got Scarecrow and a bunch of their other stuff. But Bad Ronald never quite made the cut when I was buying stuff in those sales, but I need to pick that one up. Is that your last one? No, you have one more.
I got one more after yours.
One more. So last but not least, and not really that I had any order at all, but so this is an odd one to end on, I suppose, in a way. But from ETR, Commando Ninja is
it's such a fun movie.
It's so fun. It is a mashup of like so many things, but mainly Commando and American Ninja, and a lot of like canon films kind of stuff. But
Andy Sedaris is a big one too.
Andy Sedaris, Jurassic Park is part of it. It's what you were talking about earlier with effects. Is this movie where this French kid basically is like making this movie like in his backyard with like 50 cents. And it's so much fun, and it's made with a ton of love. It's like an hour long. It's very short. The music is fantastic in it that he uses, very retro sort of electronic score. But it's just a blast. And this guy clearly loves these movies. It's a homage to that entire era of movies and that entire video store experience of going to see that stuff. Made by somebody who probably missed out a little bit on that era, but loves it anyway. And I just adore this movie. It's so good. I've shown it to friends as well. And well, what's the difference? They're often pretty surprising, but yeah, this one I just absolutely I love. Commando Ninja. I mean, it has its tongue firmly planted in his cheek the entire way through, and I love that about it.
I also think, and I'm not sure if you know more than me. I believe the director was setting out to make a Commando Ninja 2. Did that ever happen?
I'd heard, but I don't know what had happened with it. But yes, apparently he was going to make a sequel, and I hope he does. I really hope he does.
He did so well with the first one. All right, so again, maybe an odd, definitely a weird tone change from Commando Ninja to this movie. I kind of figured I probably should list at least one criterion because there's so many of those that I have loved throughout the years, and this is one that I watched fairly recently. To talk about for Imprint Cast. Funny enough, I watched the film on this disc, and then watched the extras from the imprint disc, but had to go through and talk about my appreciation for One False Move. Now, I know most of you have probably seen this, and this is an example of something that certainly not afraid to admit that I'm far late to a party that all of my friends have been at for a long time. This movie stars Bill, you can see it here, Bill Paxton, Cynthia Williams, Billy Bob Thornton, Michael Beach, written by Billy Bob Thornton in a really gross way, we'll say. The movie is a crime thriller that starts in Southern California and snakes its way all the way over to Arkansas. Some really great behind the scenes stories behind the making of this movie, and the literal racism on display as they traveled further east in this film, and in the production, because as you do, they actually filmed in Southern California, then New Mexico and Texas and Arkansas, and brought the whole production everywhere and did an incredible job with it. Some of the best acting you'll see in a film like this, which is from 1992. Billy Bob Thornton, very young in this, and very not Billy Bob Thornton yet. He's certainly the Billy Bob Thornton that doesn't have money and is trying to give it his all, and boy does he in this film. But really, Bill Paxton is where this film shines. He's always incredible. Every single thing he has ever touched, I think I've loved. Cindy Williams also just simply amazing in this movie. I don't love the ending to this film, but after hearing that this was just a good crime film for years, I sort of put it on the back burner as like not a priority to watch. Like, yeah, I've seen a bunch of crime movies. There'll be thousands more. I'll get there. This movie is special. This deserves like a special night devoted to it. Reading the booklet that came with it is a really great approach to this one. Again, the extras on like the actual racism that the production faced in bars after filming during the day and what they had to do to overcome that. Literally getting business cards saying the KKK is here, you need to leave, stuff like that, is terrifying and more relevant than ever. Our country would never do anything racist nowadays, so thankfully, I'm glad that we are far past that. That's all in our rear view. But One False Move is incredible filmmaking, really great storytelling, like earnestly told from a writer that wants to be a writer's writer, and delivers very unique characters in a way that a lot of scenes, they subvert all of your expectations. Things that you don't expect to happen, like the highway scene is so well shot, and just from a filmmaking perspective of, it's so dangerous. We would never do that. And suddenly they pull it off and you're like, fuck, okay, this film will do that. What can they do in the rest? And then the rest of the movie truly goes there like 9 different times. And you're like, okay, we're all here for the ride. And it's a great watch.
Yeah, it's a great film. And there's nothing wrong with people getting to the movie now. If you weren't able to watch a movie like this in 1991, that means you're probably not old like me. But in any case, that's no mark against anybody. I mean, I've loved watching people embrace this movie. I've loved this movie, but it is everything you said. It's a great film. Carl Franklin, of course, comes from Corman. He got to start with Roger Corman once Corman started his second company, or his company after New World. We talked about one of his movies, Eye of the Eagle, and that's how he got to start. But he's such a stellar filmmaker. He's so good. This movie is so well done. This and A Simple Plan is your Bill Paxton, Billy Bob Thornton double bill that
sleazy double feature,
just fantastic. And I love this movie. I love a lot of Carl Franklin stuff. And I admit the ending it doesn't quite pay off quite as well, which I think is why it sort of like never quite got the love it deserved. Even at the time, I remember renting this and being blown away by it and being like, holy crap, why hasn't anyone mentioned this? And and I picked up that disc as well from Criterion, because I was like, hell yes. But again, everybody's been going crazy for Red Rock West. Again, a movie I saw back then too, but it's a great movie. John Dahl did some great stuff. I was hooked into John Dahl after that movie and watched all his stuff. And it's a great movie. Who cares if we're seeing it late? And what's great about it is that these good movies don't go away. They're
timeless.
They keep getting and they're getting reintroduced. I think that's a win for the movies. So don't feel bad at all having missed out.
Honestly, we just talked this on another podcast. It's a great time to watch Red Rock West also, because it's quite Lynchian, actually. It's a lot of his Wild at Heart type of films. It really feels like something that Lynch could have directed.
Yeah, there was like in that period, there was a little bit of that sort of neo-noir. There was a bunch of stuff sort of happening around that time in indie film and others where they were starting to try to like, do more of those sort of neo-noir, maybe somewhat westerny kind of things like One False Move. And there's some great gems in that time period. And it's rife for people to kind of grab some of this stuff and put them out. And I'm happy that they are. I own 2 copies of Red Rock West as a result.
And they're both worth it. I mean, they have exclusive commentary.
Yeah. But the Umbrella one, that's you want to listen to John Dahl, and and you want to watch the cinematograph one because the transfer is just absolutely stunning. And I looked at both and compared them, and I was like, oh, there's no different. There's no comparing. The cinematograph one looks amazing. So Hotspot, Sibner, yes, another good one. The Last Seduction, another John Dahl one. That's a great call, Sibner. Yep. There's a one that even like Oliver Stone got into it. If anybody saw U-Turn,
yeah,
which is not as good as some of the ones we talked about, but still a wild one. I would check out. Somebody wanted to put that one out. There's a lot of good stuff from that period.
All that to say, blind buys can really pay off. This has been a hell of a good night. 20. No crossover. I didn't expect
no
us to have
crossover.
Any crossover. But 20 different titles. We each had 10 different labels. I went, in fact, both of us went pretty across the board with genres and actors, mainstream, deep cuts, all kinds of different types here. You can find films that people can look at for like film school level and complete DIY. How did this ever get made type of films? Gosh, this has been one of my favorite conversations for films like this. I mean, being able to cover stuff that like this shows why we collect physical media and
exactly.
I probably shouldn't use the word collect there. This is why supporting physical media is important, because many of these I never would have taken a chance on streaming. I never would have made the point. Their algorithms never would have made the point to feed them to me. I never would have got that response out of Tom Savini.
Right.
All of these things happen because we're both willing to try something that we've never had before, and our backgrounds look like they do because we love this stuff. And if you love them as well, we hope you try some blind buys. There are many of these companies that rely on people to blind buy purchases. Deaf Crocodile, Mondo Macabro, TerrorVision, Vinegar Syndrome for a lot of their stuff. A lot of these partner labels, and not just classic films. A lot of modern films rely on blind buys because 2,800 people saw them in festivals across the world. And most of the time, that's all that ever gets to see it. But fortunately, some of them are rescued by OCN partner labels, put out on Blu-ray, and now 2,000 people might buy it with a slipcover. And we hope that you watch it, and we hope that you love it.
Yeah, I look at it like, it's an investment.
Right.
You're investing in film history. Like there's the way that some of these labels are trying to pitch out to collectors. They're trying to get collectors dollars, of course, but we're also preserving films. Right. And there's so much actually out there that probably isn't going to even make the cut. And that's what's kind of sad, but true. So many, I think you were talking on another podcast about TV movies. There's so many TV movies that will never really see the light of day. There's so much stuff that we won't really get, and streaming isn't going to do anything about it. Nope. These labels are the ones that are championing these films, giving it special treatment, adding new special features, giving you context. Because how many times you watch a movie and you're like, I need to know what's going on with this movie.
Right.
And it's why I'm tracking down the producer and director of Tax Attack 87, because I'm like, what happened here? What is this? And so, that's what these things offer you. And that's why physical media has always been important to me. Even before, when it was VHS, I had VHS collection. And then once DVDs came in, it was like, holy crap, you can get the creators talking about it. This stuff's important. This stuff is about like learning about film and preserving film. It's an investment, so you got to spend your money where you think it's best, and you want to buy stuff that you like and you love, but it's an investment. That's how I look at it. I mean, I don't I'm not always going to love everything, but I don't worry about spending it on something I maybe don't love. Not because I'm like, well, I'll just turn it around and make a bunch of money on eBay or something. Right. It's not about that. And that isn't true either. That isn't really true. It doesn't really happen. But it's an investment in these companies. It's investment in film preservation. And that's how I kind of look at it.
Film preservation, restoration, archival. It's a lot. In fact, the archival aspect, I got an interview finally going up the next week or so that I hope a lot of you appreciate, because it really shows the love for what so many people are doing to keep these things relevant. And yeah, you said it best. The way that these are treated by most of the labels, it truly is like a passion project of, we want this to last. And without people like Deaf Crocodile, many of these films would never be restored. They're literally languishing in film archives, about to deteriorate beyond the point of restoration, because they can't afford it, or they don't have time, or they rely on public funding and it's drying up, or lots of these other reasons, and they rely on stuff like this to get it done. So not trying to pressure anybody to go spend money you don't have or anything, but if you are looking at a title, if you are considering spending $500 the next Vinegar Syndrome sale, maybe spread a little bit of that love out. There are lots of labels out there that are doing work. Film Masters, we've said a lot of the names tonight that are literally saving films that are on the verge of being gone forever.
Yeah, I mean, you were picking different labels on purpose. I picked different labels without even thinking about it. Like, there's so many labels. You have to diversify too, just to be like, there's so much good stuff out there. Definitely subscribe where you can too, because that helps those labels survive. So, if you can, do that. But, I mean, this was so fun. I'm so glad that you were into this topic. This was such a blast. I really got to buy some of these movies that you talked about. I definitely need to pick some of these up. But this comes down to the love of it, and we're in it for the love of it. The fact that there's new labels sprouting up all the time, that makes me so happy. Like, it's like that, that Tracy Letts conversation they had on The Big Picture.
Yeah.
Like, I love that he just said, like, you just keep doing this, buying stuff. He's like, this is the only way. This is the only way to do this. And it's like, it's so true. This is it. This is it. This is what we love. There's no turning back.
Yeah. I was thinking about this recently, because if I like stood up and showed everybody the room right now, it's a disaster. I definitely need to fix some things with shelving and not have stuff in a box on the floor, or I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 piles around the computer that you can't see right now. This is all made to look pretty, but everything else is a goddamn disaster. I need space, sure, but this is the only way. Like, I want to put my extra money into supporting this stuff. I want to be a part of so many of these things. I want to be able, I want a couple shelves just to be able to show the titles I've worked on. That alone means a lot. I mean, to be able to have a hand in bringing context to some of these, or help with restorations. I just helped Craig with a restoration demo for a title they're releasing, and to be able to show the difference in the work, I'm proud to be able to be involved in sharing that. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and you're doing great work, man. I did not pick. Thank you. I did not pick The Great Land of Small, because it wasn't technically a blind buy, but
right.
But yeah. Oh, and on that TV movie kick, this was a one I almost threw in there too.
Ooh, nice.
Is that original Primetime Panic? These are all 3 banger films. Really good, even if you can't get the box.
Yep.
So
great
good.
Curation by Fun City. Pretty much every single title they've released, minus 1 or 2, have been incredible.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Bilitis, but everything else, like, it's all been pretty great.
There's only one of their releases I don't have, and that's not Bilitis, unfortunately. But I'm like, and they have a couple new ones that they just put out that I was looking at today, so I need to pick those up. But yeah, like, there's some labels out there that just like you know what you're going to get. That's the great thing about dipping in and finding the things that you love and then following those things. That's the thing. And that's how blind buys, all these things that I got were blind buys that they made me go down certain paths on other things. And that's what it's all about.
Speaking of following things you love, New World Pictures podcast. I know we talked about it earlier. If somebody were to dive in and say, I want to hear Ryan's 5 favorite episodes, what are 5 that you would recommend for people new to the podcast?
Oh God, 5 favorite episodes. I would say, please listen to Tom Clancy's Op Center. That is a TV movie that was put out by New World Television. I absolutely loved it. On that same tip, we talked about Generation X. That's the first live action X-Men movie that was released by New World Television. Going way back to our early days, I think we're doing much better now than we even did back in the day, but we've always been a blend of like having a good time and doing research. I just think my ability to do the research has gotten more and more improved. But go back and listen to The Big Dollhouse. I always think fondly of that episode because I found in the movie they drink lambanog, which is like a Filipino liqueur or liquor. It's basically like moonshine. and I found a bottle of it and we drink it as we all do shots of it as we're doing the episode. So I always love that. Let me see. That's 3. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. That's a really fun episode. We also had a great interview with the woman who actually wrote the movie. She's not credited for writing the movie, but she did in fact actually write the movie. And I would check that out too. And, Mountaintop Motel Massacre is... It's a hell. You know what? Also, I would say not only that, but to add another one in there, we finish out the year with Chopping Mall, which is not a New World movie, but is a movie that is so New World. It is such a love letter to Corman and what he did with New World, but it was just as he had sold the company and then had moved on from the company because he was initially making movies for New World until they decided they didn't want to be in the Roger Corman business anymore. And that's it kills me that Chopping Mall is not a New World movie because it just feels like it from its bones, and we just had so much fun talking on that episode. And I just would say, listen to that one. If you don't like how much fun we have discussing that movie, then maybe you don't like the podcast. But because we definitely go off topic a little bit, but we also bring some knowledge and some research and some and love of the movie. But yes, and I work very hard on researching each movie because again, I think we talk about the movie and then I get into let's learn about this movie because you want to know what happened. Especially when you watch New World Pictures movies. You're like, what happened?
I don't remember if you covered more than one. Is it Hellraiser 2 that you did?
We did both Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2.
Okay.
And we also we did an episode where we ranked the entire franchise. That was done before the recent remake or sequel or however you want to look at it. But so that would be the 11th Hellraiser movie. And we only ranked 10. Which we won't do again.
All that to say, highly recommend the Hellraiser 2 episode.
Thank you. Yeah,
it was an episode that I find is easy to recommend to people that are new to it because you get a lot of knowledge, but also like the running voices are so funny in that episode. The humor is perfect. It is spot on, and it's exactly what you want for a franchise like Hellraiser.
That we should hopefully this year we have a t-shirt that's come from that. Well, a lot of our t-shirt designs come out of the bits that we do during our episodes, and our daughter is an artist and she drew it's going to be a Hellabon because it's a lot of our jokes was about Pinhead working at a Cinnabon. And she drew Hellraiser holding up a cinnamon roll, and it's just awesome. And so hopefully that will be making it out there onto our store soon enough. So,
guess we'll have to buy another.
But thank you for noting that. Yeah, yes. Get our shirts if you can. That's the way to support us because we don't have a Patreon. So we do a weekly show. So there's literally no way we could also do extra stuff for a Patreon. It's just impossible.
Right. Well, you're killing it. You guys are amazing. Love having you on the network, and
We love being there.
it's
For
one of
having
my
us.
favorite teams. One of my favorite teams out there. You guys are hilarious and educational about movies that nobody else talks about. Genuinely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're getting into like a zone where we're like, not a lot of people have seen this one. Like Party Incorporated, which we did, which is a Maryland Chambers. Nobody had seen that one.
Right.
So, but thank you. And we're so happy to be on the network, and we're so happy that we had you on, and we can't wait to have you back. Seriously. We had
I'll do
much
better
fun.
the second time, I promise.
You did great. You did great. You were a blast. You know,
I was wrecked that first episode.
Mountaintop Motel Massacre is a tricky one. It's a
It
tricky
is.
one.
There's not a
know?
lot to dive into on that one.
It's a hard one. Yeah. But you did great, and it's a fun episode. So people check it out.
Speaking
Thank you,
of
Ryan.
Patreon,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I normally don't pitch the Patreon all too much, but that being said, I'm at the point where worried about day job stuff is definitely coming up in my life more and more. We might find out more about that in the coming weeks. If you feel like supporting somebody, hey, I wouldn't mind having some of your hard-earned money every month. A lot of perks that can that you can access. We've got a Discord of incredible people that you can come have a chat with. If you come in at the $12 level, you get a digital copy of the Physical Media Advocate every single time it comes out. And I'd argue the digital copy is almost as important as the physical copy. You get links to everything. Every single picture has a link embedded for you to tap on to take you to learn about the film or to purchase the film. It's a blast. Our Discord, though, is really where it's at. I mean, during this chat, there's been so many things popped up. People are sharing in there. Deaf Crocodile shares stuff in there. Vinegar Syndrome, TerraVision. They've got reps in there. They're all sharing stuff that are private to the Discord. Higher tiers, you get physical goodies, you get bonus things like some of our visual essays, audio commentaries. I write poetry for some people. Anything that you can have, check it out. We'd love to have you in there, and we'll see you next Thursday. Next Thursday is going to be a weird one, and you'll find out why next week. We'll talk then.
Cool.
Have a good week. Thanks, Ryan. You've been a blast, and go listen to the World Pictures podcast. See ya. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description